Welcome everyone to the IATL Open Finals here for the month of September. This is, of course, for Rocket League, and I'm really excited to bring all the wonderful action of the last 3 weeks into the final week of September here today, and to see the top 8 teams combat each other in the finals. Welcome everyone on in to the finals. My name, of course, Troy Pib Welling, and unfortunately, next to me, as per usual, is Trevor Confused Caribou. Now just Caribou McNeil. Trevor, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm ready to watch these 8 teams face off in a
Oh,
playoff
I
scenario
am
like the St.
mad.
Louis Cardinals and Nolan
Yeah, I
Arenado
already
will,
saw
and the
it.
Colorado
I already
the
saw it.
Rockies won't be. See you later, Colorado. Thank you very much for that donation. Yeah, I'm excited for some Rocket League today.
Imagine paying. So let me put this in Rocket League terms. Imagine NRG sells like Garrett G to a different team for nothing, and then they pay that team to pay his salary to go to a different team. It's fine. Welcome to the. I'm fuming already. I'm turning red. I'm mad. Trevor's done a very good
It
job.
took like
Is
20
successful
seconds.
already. That was very good,
Yes.
very impressive. But we do have the Rocket League IHL finals here today, of course. Bracket is being generated as we speak, so we get to see what the matchups are going to look like. And two
Oh
of the
boy.
teams that I immediately saw one of the matchups and
Yep.
went, yeah, that's a potential grand finals matchup that starts in the quarterfinals. Dead X Sneaky and Top Cougars are
Wow.
probably two of my favorite teams going into this, and they face each other immediately.
Yeah, that's insane to see that as a first round matchup between those two teams because typically we see, Sneaky playing with someone of the likes of Smokes, and now they're going to be facing off against each other. Sneaky has played with Smokes and Kieran before, and Smokes Kieran is probably one of the favorite teams going into this one. On the other side, I think Pablo and Aqua is another team to look at, and if
Yeah,
Pablo Aqua advance out of their matchup, that's a second round semifinals matchup against the winner of the Dead Sneaky Top Cougars matchup. So that top half of the
rough.
bracket is ridiculously insane. But that's not to take anything away from the bottom side because Nexus Gaming
Yeah,
with Misty and Gamma have looked really solid. Stevzy with Stealth and Revzy, obviously two incredibly talented players of their own rights and have done very well here in the community opens. So like this is what we talk about. Like as we build up from the qualifiers from 1 to 2 to 3 into the grand final, like this is all 8 of these teams. Any one of these could walk away today as a champion.
yeah, they really could, and like you said, like you'd mentioned, any of the top 4 teams in the first half of the bracket could come out as the grand finalist, as the winner
Yeah.
of everything. So it is tough, but I mean, it's the top 8 teams of the month for a reason. All of these teams can reactively and retrospectively win in the grand finals, and like you had mentioned, I think Amber Gesa might have a difficult semifinals match. Well, like I'm assuming they just breeze by. Let me reel that back in a little bit, but Amber Gase is also another like huge favorite, so I'm expecting them to
Yeah.
get out of their quarterfinals matchup. But then they have to face Nexus Gaming or Stevzy, whichever team that wins that. It's not a good matchup. So none of these semifinals matchups are going to be easy for any team. They're constantly going to be fighting difficult teams. As you can see the bracket right now, Dead and Sneaky Top Cougars, the first matchup of the quarterfinals. Serendipity Pablo X Aqua. Then in the bottom half, Nexus Gaming Stevzy going off against each other. The Rocket League 2 tournament and Amber Gesa going into the last quarterfinal matchup. So, like we had mentioned, these are all very incredibly difficult matchups. And it's to be expected when you go into the top 8 teams of the tournament. Of 3 weeks of qualifiers, it's going to be the best teams.
Yeah, this is an insane top 8 that you look at. And of course, as we mentioned, the 3 qualifiers to get here. We had 5 Thursdays this month. So we got that week off in between qualifier 2 and 3. But we got 3 teams out of qualifier number 1. We got 3 teams out of qualifier number 2 and the pair out of last week's qualifier. But $175 each time to lead to this time, where everybody obviously wants that bigger prize pool, which to be, of course, in this position, you had to earn your spot. There was no freebies, no giving away. Of course, yeah, there's a consolation prize at third place in those first couple of qualifiers where you don't make any money, but you make it here where your chance to win some money is on the table. And looking to see where they do get here with this up for grabs. I mean, top 3 payout, as we've already done the math, 37.5% chance out of
Yep.
8 teams. It's a pretty good odds to win something here today.
Yeah, I'd take those odds. The only thing I wouldn't take those odds are against the other teams in the finals. If I was
Yeah,
to
you're
look
right.
up against some of these teams, I'm like, oh, 37.5%. That's not bad. And then you look at the other teams, you're like, I can see the 63% of that being extremely difficult. So now I understand that
Yeah.
it's not going to be an easy matchup whatsoever. And like we had already mentioned, top Cougars probably the number one seed going into everything as per usual. Since their historic
Ooh.
performances in the last couple of
Uh,
months, it's going to be something interesting to see.
I might disagree with that based
You
off
think Amber
of.
Gase is,
I think Amber
or you think
Gesa
someone
probably gets.
else?
I think Amber Gesa probably gets edge in that conversation, but when you look at how Dead and Sneaky played together, I think that might be a
That's fair.
randomly earned one seed for that squad. I think I'm okay with most all of the seeding top Cougars. It obviously does not deserve the 8. I think I'd
Right.
swap them out with somebody like honestly Serendipity. I think Serendipity is probably the team that is the 8 seed, quote unquote, out of this entire top 8, but it's either going to be between them or, and as much as I hate to say it, Nexus Gaming, because Nexus has had really solid signs of life against really good teams, but I just feel like it's too inconsistent. So one of those two matchups between Nexus and Stevzy or Serendipity and Pablo Aqua, I feel like should be on paper the quote unquote easiest matchups to advance to the semifinals. Not that it's going to be easy by any means. Like you said, these are the top 8 teams that we played out over a month. Like
Yeah.
all of them earned their position here today. But if I had to give it to anybody, I think Pablo Nakwa and Stevzy probably have the best chance to advance. It's just a matter of that 1-8 matchup and the 2-7 matchup as to flip a coin who's going to take that.
Yeah, and they're going to be really exciting matches. Like we said, there's not really a boring matchup in any of these going
No.
into today's quarterfinals. So it'll be very fun to see. But we, of course, going into the quarterfinals and going into the finals today, had a lot of great plays and great action that we saw through 3 weeks of qualifiers. So let's go ahead and get to the top 10 going into this week of the finals of the general top 10 that we saw. Coming in at number 10, it's going to be Pokey and Not Spang on the Spanger Banger team. Double demo with zeros on the clock. Just the absolute disrespect to go for the double demo at the end of the game. I thought it was a forfeit originally. I thought they got double demoed and forfeited, and they're like, yeah, I'm done with this.
Yeah, coming in at number 9, we do get to see Sneaky's return to the ATL Community Opens, this time with Dead as the duo and a great 1-2 connection that'll give him a 5-0 lead here in the early game, which is why I think this is a team you should certainly look out for earning of that number 1 seed here in the bracket.
Yeah, keep an eye on them for sure. Another team to keep an eye on. The potential number 1 seed is Top Cougars. Smokes and Toxic already connecting in the previous weeks to make some great plays. Smokes just being an absolute mayhem all over the field, able to split the Red Sea and part that for his teammate Toxic, just have the wide open goal for top 8.
Coming to number 7, we got Demoness and Janky with this nice little setup that leads to this absolutely ridiculous, disgusting, totally calculated backflip redirect into the net. Got the defender to bite and everything, but just read that ball perfectly from start to finish to give them the tying goal with 15 ticks to go. Unfortunately, did not make it here to today's finals.
Yeah, close nonetheless, but Toxic saying who's musty. It's Toxic. Toxic with a great musty flick. Get him up 4-1 in this game. Great control, and somehow was able to redirect it to the other side of the net as well. His car control, they were absolutely ridiculous for the top 6.
Number 5, we get to see Amber Gesa here in the reel, as well as tonight's event with this beautiful 1-2. It shows how good this team is and just how well they read off each other. A nice little one tap to the center to get the goal scored.
You want some tips on how to control the ball? Watch Revsy off the wall here, keeping it low against Jalading in overtime at 1-1 apiece. An incredibly important goal in the series to keep Revsy in stealth in this one, and they obviously win the game off that against a really good Jalading team.
Another team to watch for sure. Coming in at number 3, we got Stealth and Revsy. We see a quick counterattack going from one end to the other. Revsy takes advantage of the accidental backflip there by Jalading in front of the net, which will give them the go-ahead insurance goal just past that halfway point. But this is just to showcase anyone can make mistakes, but Stealth and Revsy will punish you every single time for it.
That's why they made it to the top 8 this week. Going in at number 2, we have Pablo and Aqua making a crucial mistake, leaving Sneaky the ball on the side of the field there with the F1 car, flat car with the flip reset, able to get down to bottom right corner with 15 seconds left. This play started, and it was tied 3-3, potential overtime, and Sneaky's able to find a flip reset off the top of the ceiling to get this to go bottom right and to get them a win in this game.
Great shot, great control right there. Last but not least, with literal zeros on the board, Smokes and Toxic pull off another incredible play. Beautiful steal at the midfield that left it wide open for Smokes to take it, carry the ball on the hood, give them the go-ahead goal and the victory here in this one. Great play, but facing off against Misty and Gamma, that duo also contributing to tonight's gameplay. We'll be looking for their retribution here against a really solid Smokes and Toxic team. That'll wrap up our top 10, and I cannot give you enough credit, enough words of praise to all 8 of those teams, plus those that did not make it here tonight. That just was a nice little 3.5-minute reel of why each and every single one of these teams absolutely could walk away with that first place prize money today.
Yeah, all of these teams could. It's really difficult to kind of tell you who's going to be able to take it up on top because, like we had already mentioned, we've seen Top Cougars and Amber Gates repeatedly perform week after week and consistently. So we know that they're great teams. But then we saw the way Dead and Sneaky played through the entire bracket last week, and it was incredible. The things they were able to do and the teams they got past to get into the grand final spot was insane. And then I think they 3-1'd in the finals, and it was just incredible from them all the way through. So that's another team we're looking at. And obviously a lot of fan support for the NXG crew, Nexus Gaming.
Naturally.
I would say their matchup is not the worst that they could have drawn. I think Stealth and Revsy are a fantastic team, and their record indicates that Stealth is 12-1, Revsy's 9-2. But this could be a situation that they could come through into the quarterfinals, or come out of the quarterfinals into the semis, and hope to not face Amber Gesa. Maybe Rocket League 2 somehow pushes past them, but nonetheless, these are incredibly difficult matchups, and we've got a little bit of NA and EU splits across the finals, which is good because we normally only see EU teams in the finals.
True. Yeah, I'm tired of seeing all these all EU finals across the board. So it's good to see some NA representation of that. I'm in agreement with you. I think Nexus could have gotten a worse draw for round number 1, but I think that there also is a couple of better draws that they could have gotten as well. Like
true.
To point to the other 7 teams, like there is no easy draw in this table with these teams, but for what it's worth, I think Nexus has a decent shot here. But between where we start with Serendipity and Pablo and Aqua. Pablo and Aqua, of course, Aqua has been around at the time before. Like Aqua's been here, but not with the likes of Pablo. And wondering about what was going to happen between these two as they earned their spot here. I think Pablo and Aqua probably a favored squad here in this matchup, but we'll see what Serendipity can do, see if they will be the first team to advance.
Yeah, and like you had mentioned, we love Pablo and Aqua because their team is nice and simple. We know it's Pablo and we know it's Aqua. Same with Dead and Sneaky. We know it's those 2 players on this team. As of right now, though, Aqua having a nice little air dribble with the flip reset on top of it and starts off the goal scoring in this game with just great boost control, great car control, 2 flip resets. Incredible for Aqua so far.
And that's what we talk about with the skill of these 2 players. And I think that, like I said, on paper, this is probably one of the 2 most, quote-unquote, one-sided affairs of the top 8 bracket because Pablo and Aqua are just that good. And not to take anything from Serendipity because they are good as well. But this is, as we talk about with Nexus Gaming and their draw, this is probably one of the worst draws that you could possibly get in round number 1.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's not a good matchup, but we'll see if Serendipity can make their way back up to the top as we see a second chance going close from Aqua here. Pablo with a nice challenge at midfield, able to get that into the corner. And this is going to be, like we had mentioned, a very difficult matchup for Serendipity if they can't get the ball away from Pablo and Aqua. They need to start challenging early. They need to be able to stop them from creating because we saw the limited amount of time that Aqua had. He just took it off the wall, had 2 flip resets, and scored the first goal of the game in 20 seconds. So you cannot give this team any time whatsoever.
Yeah, and that's just one of those dangers about a team that is that lethal on the attack. And granted, they got that first goal in 19 seconds, but it's gone a minute plus without anything more than that and decent back and forth play. So Wondering if we'll see Marty and Hazy find an answer to be able to slow down the offense between Pablo and Aqua. Aqua, the great midfield steal, but Mars, good redirect to get back on the defensive end and make sure Aqua doesn't get a good shot on.
2 minutes collapse so far. After that first goal, we haven't seen a whole lot for either team just yet. Serendipity looking for their first real attack of the game so far. Aqua going to be the second one to do that, though. Almost kind of indicates a musty flick, it seems, but wasn't able to actually have enough boost or car control. But doesn't matter when you have Pablo on the other side of your team. Pablo's able to take that one out of the corner, gets that 100 boost as well, gets that boost, and just breezes himself right into the back of the net.
And just being able to have that, again, the offensive presence and the threat between these two individual players and how good they are and what they can do with the ball, regardless of the situation, one-on-one, one-on-two, one-on-none, even in the aerials with the control that we've already seen Aqua showcase going into this early game. It's insane just how good they are, but to watch what Serendipity can do to answer, like I said, we went a minute without any score at all before Pablo finally was able to find a gap in the defense. So now we'll just see what Marty and his teammate can do here to try to find an answer back. They've got the ball on the right side of the field. They just got to find the right angle to get the finish. So we hit the halfway point. They're still down 2. But again, the offense is knocking on the door. They just got to break that goose egg.
Wide open. It's going to be tough to break that goose egg when Aqua and Pablo are constantly on attack. This is something we were worried about for Serendipity going into this matchup, is that they are up against a very good team that constantly can be able to score. And that's the same can be said for quite a few teams in this top 8, which is why we get more and more excited the more this goes on, because we start to see those two teams that can just absolutely score goals on goals against each other in the semifinals and up. It's going to be incredible matchups. But as of right now, Serendipity not looking fantastic for game 1, but they still have plenty of time. And I believe they are, like I said, back and forth at the NA and EU for Serendipity and Pablo X Aqua. So I'm not sure what the indication is now, but maybe it's just the server that they are on that, not having a great game 1, but when they switch back to the NA servers, they'll be able to dominate. And we've seen that time and time again. Almost another goal here.
Ooh,
Aqua expects a better save, but it gets scored on Marty Mars nonetheless. That's the 4th goal for Pablo and Aqua.
And this is just a really solid start here for the Pablo Aqua offense and the confidence that they have going into this top 8. After a great flip reset and being able to get back to the ground level, the save, like you said, just did not quite go the direction that it wanted. Still had enough momentum on the back end to go past and into the net. So the 4-0 here, I think, is more than likely just going to lead to this Pablo and Aqua victory, barring a miraculous comeback from Serendipity. But now we kind of get an idea of the threshold and what that base level is that Serendipity needs to step up to find the answer for Pablo and Aqua. Like I said, they have been on the offensive side for at least a little bit of this game, enough that would give them some confidence, but they just can't quite get that goose egg off the board.
Yeah, that's props to Pablo and Aqua. 10 shots for Aqua already in this game by himself alone. I think Pablo is on 2 or 3. Yeah, not too anything crazy for Pablo, but Aqua is putting on a show so far. And Pablo doesn't need to put on a show when he can do everything that is required to score goals. He takes that all the way up off an air dribble, is able to get a flip reset here, and then gets that flip reset into a musty flick to score the 5th goal of this game. There's still a minute left. And Pablo was like, oh, you said I'm having a quiet game? Let me show you something real quick.
Yeah, just hold on. Just hold that thought real quick. And yeah, let me do that. All right, cool. Moving on. Anyways, you were saying? But with a 5-goal lead here now, and not to mention the fact that, like, this is building up the momentum and the confidence here for that duo against Serendipity. In a best of 5, like, there is a chance here for Serendipity to come back, because all of our top 8 matches today, up until the grand finals, are best of 5s when we hit that best of 7 in the grand finals. But this gives a little more leeway in a series to be able to afford a mistake and then try to find an answer to come back into this game, into this series, in game number 2 at least. If not, you have to save it for game 3, because that is not much more. But you see Pablo and Aqua still on the attack, still not giving anything up, even with the 5-0 lead. These two are not going to call it quits at any point here in game 1 or at any point in this series.
With 5 seconds left on the clock, game 1 is surely in the hands of Pablo and Aqua here, and like we mentioned, best of 5. So Serendipity still has a couple of games left in the tank to be able to come back and find themselves back into the series, best of 5 is going to be a little bit more helpful in the sense that you can drop
Yeah.
that first game and still have a chance to not lose a second, immediately lose a series. So there is still some hope for Serendipity here, but I say that when there wasn't a whole lot of hope in that game, as Serendipity couldn't really
Yeah.
find any attacks. I mean, they had a couple of shots, but I don't think I can visualize one of the offensive chances that they had that was like, oh, that should have been a goal, or this, as they'd use in, football terms of soccer is like XG, so expected goals. I don't think they had over or under one there going into that game. They didn't have a lot of expected goals from the shots they created, so they need to do better at creating those offensive chances. And we'll take a look at the replays of game one, powered by Microsoft ATL, of course, in how Pablo and Aqua look just so strong. And within the first 20 seconds, like we mentioned, Aqua did this. And when you're Serendipity and you see that, you're like, oh, man, this is the first game of the day. We got to deal with this already. And then Pablo, later in the game, is like, you know what? I know I've had a quiet game. Let me go off the ceiling with a flip reset musty flick. Now you really know what you're up against.
Yeah, and to put emphasis on the first game. So Pablo and Aqua came into this one firing on all cylinders. This is the goal you're talking about. As they get the opportunity, Aqua just misses out on the initial shot, but the save just wasn't enough to get this. But Pablo coming through with this disgusting flip reset musty. Under the crossbar. Just art. You didn't have to do that, no, but it was not necessary, but you did that anyway. So they take the 1-0 lead to go into game number 2. As we talked about, Serendipity has the opportunity here to come back here in this one, but immediately, again, this time 8 seconds faster. Aqua gets the first goal to start this one off. As we give credit to Serendipity, to your point of expected goals, maybe one in a fractional decimal point that would round down to 1. So it's not ideal in the offensive presence for Serendipity. They got to find a way to at least take the ball away from this duo here and get them off of the offensive side of the field because of just how potent they have been already in the first game.
We didn't really talk about it today, but we talk about it every week. And the keys to victory is to create constant offense, but also the boost control that Pablo and Aqua have been able to have. That should be an easy goal. Nice save, though, coming out from, I believe that is Hazy, or Marty Mars, sorry, able to find that save. Very, very important save because that would have put him up 2-0 already. And within a minute, Hazy with no boost, not really going to have a chance there. But like I was mentioning, one of the keys to victories we always talk about is boost control. And when you're on offense all the time like Pablo and Aqua are, as that almost gets in, Hazy with another great save, they are constantly going to be grabbing your hundreds, your corner boosts. And nicely done from Aqua and Pablo to create a second goal on a beautiful passing play from the corner.
Yeah, great leave in the air from Aqua here just to carry this one through and good communication. Half boost, knew the teammate was coming through. That's really good trust that you have in your teammate, that they are in position. They're going to be able to catch that one, just to kind of leave the defense guessing as to who is going to end up taking that shot. Are we going to see a flip reset, or are we going to see it laid off for the teammate? Teammate came through to get the shot, get the goal, to give them that insurance lead. Marty there with the opportunity on, but Aqua gets to the ball first to make sure that they don't get one back. Now look for the flip reset. There's the demo on the backside, but it's going to be more than enough to just send it up the wall, send it back around. Look for Pablo on the other side. Pablo not necessary, as that one somehow sneaks behind the lone defender. And again, just playing mind games with the defense here. Who's going to take the shot? Is it one? Is it a pass? Is it a shot? Doesn't matter. Ball's in the back of the net.
I think Pablo and Aqua are one of the teams I'm highly underrated going into this tournament. And I remember seeing them last week, and you were like, yeah, these guys have a lot of history, and I couldn't even remember the last time I saw Pablo or Aqua in a tournament. I was like, it's been a long time. So I forgot that these guys are incredibly skilled. And like you'd mentioned, I don't know if Aqua was with Pablo at the time, but nonetheless, Pablo shows up when he needs to, and once again shows up to make a great save. And Aqua has looked incredible through these 2 games so far to get Serendipity down 1-0 so far and almost 2-0 in this series if they can continue this lead.
I want to say it was the June or July Community Open that we saw Aqua come in, and likewise, I couldn't explicitly tell you the roster that Aqua was enlisted with to go into that event, but I know that they fared very well, and is a name just worth noting and worth keeping on your radar because Aqua just had done so well in that one and continues to do so. Pablo with the initial carry is going to dish that one down to Aqua, is awaiting arms. 2:49 to play. They're already at 4 goals to nothing here. Serendipity still looking for an offensive answer. On the other side, Pablo and Aqua, they're at this point just building momentum to try to get to the next series and wait for their next opponent.
I have found the previous team that Aqua was with, and
Okay,
it was
I'm
with
listening.
none other than Smokes KR. We
Okay.
saw Aqua shine with
Yep.
Smokes, and this makes so much
makes
sense
sense.
now.
Yeah.
Because Smokes is the #1 recruiter in Rocket League that I've ever seen. He's brought
Correct.
every individually amazing player we've seen in this tournament into this tournament,
Kieran,
and somehow they've branched
Sneaky,
off into great
Toxic.
teams. But yeah, Smokes, a great player nonetheless. He's obviously great himself. But like you had mentioned on that list, Toxic, Sneaky, Smoke,
Kieran,
obviously Smokes,
Stealth.
yeah, Kieran, Stealth. All of these people are from teammates that we've seen with
Yeah.
Smokes. So it's incredible what he's been able to do so far. And that's another goal for Pablo.
A great little twist there for Pablo to get the redirect and the goal on. But yeah, to give credit to Smokes, just finding these players, getting them in this community open, and then they just branch out and create their own teams. It's like, as we, I think, coined it last week, the Top Cougars A, B, C, D, and E team. Because
Yes,
there's
and
just
this
so
is
many
basically
of them
it.
now.
Dennis
They're
Sneaky's
just
one of
running
them.
the
Top
table.
Cougars is another. Pablo and Aqua's a third. Stealth and Reggie, that's a fourth.
Yeah.
All right, they have 4 teams in this one of the 8 of Top Cougars
Yeah.
are Smokes-esque teams. So that's another goal for Pablo and Aqua, and they are just dominating these 2 games. I mean, not much else can be said as far as the game is concerned because they just look a step above the good players that we know are Serendipity. They just look incredible
Yeah.
right now. Pablo and Aqua are just constantly connecting. And like you had mentioned in their 4th goal, I believe, where Aqua's on an air dribble and decided to completely leave it knowing that Pablo would score. That kind of trust in the finals, going into the finals at least, is so important, and these guys are on top of their game already.
And that's, again, a really reassuring sign to come into an event like this and a point to make in between games that with what Serendipity has done, it seems like almost they just weren't quite ready or weren't quite expecting this performance from the other side. Aqua's going to be able to get this one past both defenders here after a great aerial control, aerial dribble, and winning that ball out. But looking at, where you come in with the actual boost control one more time. You took the 100 out of the corner, able to just then control the speed and get past both of the defenders. But this is just showing that Pablo and Aqua came into this one ready to play, ready to go. And I'm just not sure if Serendipity were quite expecting or prepared or warmed up or something to the nth degree, some amount of reasoning, validation, excuses, whatever you want to call it, in this game against the likes of Pablo and Aqua.
Yeah, and we are going to be seeing Pablo and Aqua take a second game out of the way from Serendipity. I believe both these games to start this quarterfinals were on EU, so that does favor Pablo and Aqua a little bit, but not favoring them entirely, to which they just completely shut down the likes of the other side. I mean, you see Marty has a couple of shots. He's got 3 shots so far and is able to get a couple of saves on top of that, but it has been a Pablo and Aqua show. Another 10 shots in this game for Aqua,
yeah.
5 goals for him, and Pablo almost his third there. Awkwardly has to go off the backboard, but it's just, they're so dominant. Back-to-back 10-shot games in the quarterfinals of the overall finals from the entire month is something crazy to see.
And that's
Make
a
it
point
11.
that make it 11 and make it 6 goals. The double hat trick, tip both of your hats for Aqua here in this game number 2. 15 ticks to go, 8 goals to 0 right now. But looking at what they've done, and a point I have not brought on in honestly probably far too long for my commentary's sake, and I'm a little disappointed in myself. Any game where you have a double-digit amount of shots as a team, you have a pretty good chance of winning. When you look at a singular player with double-digit shots, then there should be no reason whatsoever you're losing that game. Unless it is the greatest defense I have ever seen in Rocket League history. If you have double-digit shots with one player in a duo, there's no way you should ever win that game or ever lose that game. And that's why Pablo and Aqua won that game handily and looking to go into game number 3, continuing the shutout of their opponents.
Yeah, unless you're facing like Smokes and Kieran or Smokes and Toxic or something on the other side where they also both have 2 players at 10 digit or double digit shot counts,
Yeah.
it'll be back and forth. But let's take a look at the replays of game number 2. Like we had mentioned in game 1, it's a highlight reel of Pablo and Aqua. They are looking so incredible so far. This was a rather easy goal off kickoff basically though for Aqua, so nothing crazy there, but the connections that these two had throughout this game and some great saves, mind you, on the side for Serendipity. they just can't. There's so much offense from Aqua and Pablo. You can have a great save, and immediately Aqua's back towards net and gives that dime piece to Pablo.
And again, as you mentioned, just so delicately with the highlight reel of these two teams, of these two players, like this is just what is ridiculous to look at, in the sense that this is a game playing with players on equal or slightly lesser caliber than you, depending on what your rank is. But I mean, this is not an easy competition whatsoever, and Pablo and Aqua are making this look easy. They're making this look like they just queued up as SSLs against a couple of bronzies, like where it's literally nothing. Like, it does not matter to them. But to come out like this and score like this and not let the other team really even play, like the other team is, Serendipity isn't getting to participate. They will not get a participation trophy because Pablo and Aqua is not letting that happen.
Yeah, I know we're in the realm and we're in the age of giving out awards and participation to everybody. Not here. There is no participation awards for this best of 5, and it's clearly showing because they have had two goose eggs in back-to-back games against Pablo and Aqua, and go into the server switch, I believe, going to NA now in hopes that they can bring this series back. But like we'd mentioned, even so, they're on different servers and on higher ping. 100 ping is not going to affect how you play the game entirely. Like they didn't even get a couple of great chances to score in both of those games. So, ping's going to help a little bit, but when Pablo and Aqua are just that dominant in general, it's still going to be a game in favor for them going into the third game of the series.
Going into game number 3, we'll find what the answer is going to be from Serendipity, if there is one at all. If we're going to see our first 3-0 sweep here today. Pablo and Aqua have already slowed down a little bit from their last game. Again. It took 4 seconds longer than last time, so starting to see some concerning points from Pablo and Aqua where they can't score as fast, but they still take an early 1-0 lead, which I think at this point for this duo is probably not surprising.
Yeah, I mean, like you'd mentioned, they're falling off a little bit. Game 3, it's already bad news bears for this team, as only scoring in the first 15 seconds is a little rough for Pablo and Aqua. We're used to seeing better. Of course, jokes aside, Pablo and Aqua just have not yet started a game off to the races. They are consistently scoring on kickoff and immediately able to just show their authority in this game so far. That's a bad miss, and that's an easy goal for Pablo and Aqua. And Serendipity go down 2-0, almost potentially 3-0 in the series to get them kicked out of the tournament. Would be bad news for Serendipity. And Pablo and Aqua, like we had already said, one of the underdogs that we have been underrating, are clearly showing
I don't know what
this
Wii stuff is.
Okay, then I was underrating. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you very much, Richard. This is certainly not going to be a series or a event or a tournament that Pablo and Aqua are going to take lightly. I think this is a squad that you have to watch just because of what they are capable of. Like we said, this is a Top Cougars, A team, B team, C team, D team, whatever letter you want to assign them, randomly give it to whoever you want. But this is a squad that is going to attempt to go to the distance, and I think have a pretty good chance at doing so. I think Serendipity at this point was just a small bump in the road that I mean, you could have been worried about if Serendipity's playing at their ceiling, but it seems like on the other side, Pablo and Aqua are playing at their ceiling in this current series, in this current matchup. Not to say that that won't change going into their next one, but right now, this is not a matchup that I want to be in at all. I do not want to be on the side of Serendipity. What a little ring around the rosy here by Pablo.
Pablo went coast to coast on the own goal from Serendipity, was still able to notch that one in for his third goal of the game on 3 shots. So incredible that so far they have just been, I mean, in a 4-0 fashion in less time than it took in the last game. So we were like, oh, you guys are washed up. You didn't score in the first 15 seconds. Now they have scored the most they have had in 1 minute and 30 seconds, I believe, through 3 games. So, yeah, this team is not at all washed up whatsoever. Pablo and Aqua look fantastic, and both players can clearly show their skill, and Aqua puts that in the top right. 2 goals for him, 3 goals for Pablo, and 5 goals against Serendipity, 0 in 3 games so far.
That's, I mean, just being able to have that offensive production in any series, in any community open event, whether it's a qualifier, finals, whatever it may be, is impressive by itself. To be able to do it in a top 8 grand final situation, just says so much about what you're capable of and what you can do. Gonna get the defense to bite there and end up shooting the gap between both of them to get the 6th goal here. We haven't even hit the 3-minute mark. We're not even at the halfway point yet, and they are up 6-0. And correct me if I'm wrong, what is that? 20 goals over the 3 games to nothing?
Math is totally up to you, but that is something that
20 give or take.
Incredible at. Wow!
3-0.
3-0 from Dead and Sneaky in the quarterfinal, number 1 against Top Cougars.
Dead and Sneaky are winning.
Yeah, with that being said,
no way.
Literally, I was like, Top Cougars is a 1 or 2 seed in this tournament, no doubt in my mind. And Dead and Sneaky just 3-0'd them in the quarterfinals. Smokes has got to stop bringing in the best players he sees around the Rocket League scene, because they're starting to combine and be on the same team. And he's just creating like the Avengers. And he's
right.
I forgot the purple dude's name. Now I can't remember his name. Thanos. He's Thanos, and he's suddenly like, I've made a grave mistake here. I've given too much power to these people I've assembled.
Yeah, this is not perfectly balanced as all things should be, because that was a ridiculously one-sided affair that we would not have seen whatsoever.
Wow.
Maybe, hear me out now, we give credit to Smokes as the best recruiter. Maybe it's actually Sneaky. Maybe Sneaky brought in Dead, and Dead's actually the best player that we've ever seen in the Community Open. And this is just now watching them make their gauntlet run to go from start to finish without dropping again. I'm excited to see that. If they go from start to finish in this bracket without dropping a single game, that's the goal. From what they just did, that's where they've set the bar.
Do you know how impossible that is when your semifinals matchup is Pablo and Aqua, and they're playing like this though? Like they've now averaged 7 or 8 goals a game in 3 games in a quarterfinal matchup in the finals of the entire month. Pablo and Aqua are not looking to go out in a 3-0 fashion whatsoever. But I guess that could be said with Top Cougars. I mean, we thought it'd be a close series. I probably expected that to go 5 games, and it just did not. It was just 3 games and out for Top Cougars, which is incredible. And unfortunately, like we had mentioned, those are 2 of the top teams in the tournament. They faced each other in the first round, and one of them had to go home eventually.
And we see
get out of the tournament.
Yeah, Top Cougars. Yeah, well, they're home and they're logging off a lot earlier than they really wanted to be. Like, you know what? Not worth it. Not only am I not playing in this, I just don't want to play any more Rocket League tonight after that dismantling.
I'm uninstalling. I'm over this.
Yeah, that's the mental tilt for sure kicking after that. But on this side, I think the same for Serendipity here. The tilt's got to be kicked in to the nth degree, where this is just far too much to handle. Pablo and Aqua's offense, at the time I said it, probably like 21 goals to nothing. Now a couple more added on to that tally. Like, this offense is doing everything right. Serendipity has no answers whatsoever. Hazy and Marty can't put anything together, and that's not to take away from their individual skill or their abilities. This is just Pablo and Aqua dismantling this system board by board.
Yeah, and I did expect Pablo and Aqua to win this series, just as a team overall in comparison to Serendipity. Pablo and Aqua have had a lot less struggles through the qualifiers so far that we've seen, so I just kind of expected like a 3-0, 3-1 series potentially from Pablo and Aqua, but I never expected it to be 3 straight goose eggs from Serendipity in this quarterfinal matchup, and now 9 goals for Pablo and Aqua. I mean, while Serendipity can't score, they can't defend against this team either, so it's just a rough matchup for them so far. They just can't keep up with the pace that Pablo and Aqua are both outputting.
And at this point, it's hard to expect that to happen. Now, in the last 24 seconds, you've outscored your opponent this much in every single game. What type of opponent are you? Are you the person that's going to say, I'm sorry for shutting you out all 3 games and score an own goal or give up an opportunity? Or are you going to leave this at 0?
They're leaving it at 0. You can see they're still trying to score goals. I mean, Pablo's up for a double tap, misses it, unfortunately. But yeah, these guys are not stopping. They want the double-digit mark. And this might be that case. I was going to say where that goal goes in the other way, but that is 3 straight shutouts from Pablo and Aqua to make them a entrance into the semifinals here for the IATL Rocket League Finals overall this month. I mean, incredible performance from Pablo and Aqua. Like I had mentioned, 0 goals through 3 games conceded, and a lot given for them in those three games. We'll take a look at the series of replays for the series, of course, powered by Microsoft ATL. And there's no less than a highlight reel in all three of these games for Pablo and Aqua.
Yeah, this is just all offense all the way from Pablo Aqua. Not a whole lot of defense necessary because Marty and Hazy just never got the chance, really. I mean, you talk about expected goals. I think game one probably had their best opportunity to score, where, like I said, it was maybe one in a small decimal that would round down to one. After that, it's under half a goal every single game, and you hammer the over every single time. Pat McAfee would be so proud to hammer down on the over for these games. Like, this was a ridiculous offensive performance from Pablo and Aqua, who at this point I think should just ride this wave into their next series, which you hate to say is against a squad that just 3-0'd Top Cougars. So
Yeah,
you
I don't know
cannot
what's happening.
you can't expect this performance again.
No, I have no idea what's going to happen in that semifinals matchup. Realistically, it's just going to be absolutely insane between Dead and Sneaky and Pablo and Aqua. And like we had mentioned, the two easiest team names in the whole tournament. Thank you guys for going up against each other in the semifinals. Now we know exactly what every player is going to look like. But like we mentioned, Dead and Sneaky 3-0 against Top Cougars, get to the semifinals. And not serendipity, Pablo and Aqua are going to be in the semifinals against Dead and Sneaky. So a little bit of an issue there. But Dead and Sneaky, Pablo and Aqua in the semifinals. And then Nexus Gaming and Stevzy are awaiting their matchup to play right now to see which one of them makes it into the semifinals. And RL2's tournament and Amber Gesa are both struggling to finish or to show up even. So we'll see how they go through into the semifinals. But going into the top 8 of today, like we mentioned, 3 of the 8 teams get paid out. So Dead and Sneaky and Pablo and Aqua are almost there. They're almost guaranteed money, at least $100 for third place.
And that's, one of the points that we always to give to the teams. You work so hard to make it this far to qualify for the top 8. 37.5% chance. All you gotta do is show up. And
It's
sometimes,
exactly.
whether you're realistically here or not, like in this argument, Serendipity did not show up here today whatsoever. Their offense was just
Fair.
completely MIA, question mark ping. There's just nothing going on there whatsoever. And it's just heartbreaking to see because what we saw out of Serendipity in their qualifier, I think showed a lot more promise than what we saw here today. But this was, again, just showcasing Pablo and Aqua, who have been absent for 2-3 months from the community opens. No holds barred in this one at all. They picked up right where they left off to come back into this one. Aqua said, you know what? It's been a minute, but I'm here to take home a trophy.
Yeah, and the duos from these teams have been incredible. Like you said, the branching off from Smokes has made Sneaky go find the Dead, and they've been incredible. And now
Yeah.
Aqua, who also played with Smokes, now brought in Pablo, who looked incredible in that series. So this is now a Smokes is out of the tournament, so he gets to watch his children try and perform and try and be better than the Masters. So we'll see how that goes through into the rest of this tournament. Dead and Sneaky, Pablo, and Aqua. Going to wait for this quarterfinal matchup to go through, which is Nexus Gaming and Stevzy. So I know there's a lot of support in chat for Nexus Gaming. So obviously they want
Of course.
Nexus to win this game, but I think it'll still be a close series. And Stealth and Revzy looked very, very good against Amber Gesa going into the qualifiers, I think last week or the week before. I mean, they're a very good team. And like we've already mentioned, Stealth off the Smokes branch as well. He is a fantastic player and brought Revzy in to just join the likes of the top of the teams here in this tournament. So realistically, I'd love to be a fan of Nexus Gaming, but I think Stealth and Revzy take this one. I think it's going to be 3-1.
I am inclined to agree with you, but I'm a little more hesitant in the sense that this is a rematch of the qualifier 2 grand finals where we saw
Yeah.
Misty and Gamma under their previous moniker of Mighty P facing off against this squad, now under Nexus Gaming, obviously. But I think this is probably going to be a lot closer than we would expect. I think it'll be obviously closer than the series that we just saw. I think that Misty and Gamma have a very fair chance to not only take a game or two off of them, but given the right circumstances, take a series out of this as well. Stealth and Revzy are really, really good players, but I think Misty and Gamma just play so well together. Their teamwork might overcome what you see Stealth and Revzy have to offer. I won't call it a 3-1. I'll call it a 3-2, and I think it'll come down to the wire, but I will give the edge to Stevzy.
Yeah, they looked fantastic, and like you'd mentioned, it is a grand finals comeback or run back. So it'll be really fun to see how these two teams match up against each other. Kind of should know how they play already going into this matchup too, which is what we mentioned in the last qualifier. Is that getting those kind of games throughout the qualifier is really important. Facing some of the best teams in the tournament that you're going to be seeing later in the finals at the end of the month is really important practice and really good practice to see if you can manage up against those teams. Because like we had seen, Serendipity had some great runs through qualifiers, but they couldn't beat some of the best teams that we saw that we're
Right.
seeing right now, like Pablo and Aqua. And if they went into a matchup against Nexus or Stevzy, I think would also be in a similar vein. But we have seen Nexus and we have seen Stevzy both be able to win a qualifier. So going into this one, you know, they have those expectations of themselves going into this best of five, and they realistically should be able to have a very competitive series. Like you mentioned, I said 3-1, but I still think it's a competitive series nonetheless.
I absolutely believe to be a competitive series here between these two. And to put it in perspective of, you know, how I feel about this, like, yes, I feel like Stepsy's going to win this series when it comes down to it. But I think on the other side, like,
That's an
I
open
said
net.
this
Oh,
is
Gamma.
Gamma, you almost got away with that one there. But the top of the show, I was talking about how the quote-unquote two easiest series that we have today was the first one was Serendipity that went
Yeah.
3-0 to that side. This was the second quote-unquote easiest series, and I'm calling it a 3-2 to go down to the wire. So I think that just says a lot more about the competition, in the sense that I think our second closest series is still a 5-game series, and not at all.
And one of the hardest
3-0.
series went 3-0. Yeah, like
Yeah,
what?
right.
How does that even work? It's incredible the kind of talent we have right now. Revsy with a good dribble, almost able to get that to the other side. Also some really close saves so far from this team, but they're not saving that one. Top bins from Gamma is going to start the lead here for Nexus Gaming.
Yeah, nice little steal there towards midfield, then just to get this ball in the corner. No more boost necessary. Get it between the defender, get it up in time to go towards the crossbar. Put the ball in the net. 60 seconds in, Nexus Gaming gets the first blood.
Almost followed up with a second off kickoff. Missy's going to be able to get the midfield boost here, but not giving it past the defending side of Stevzy. Good shot comes for Gamma with an even better save, though. And now we see it ticking on the clock. That is a bad whiff, though, and that is going to be punished immediately. These are the kind of mistakes we talk about all the time. You make a small mistake like that, it is going to be punished every single time against these best teams.
Yeah, you see in front of the net, just a backflip that just missed out on the situation, just could not get in position to make the save. At that point, it's all reactive defense. Not much more to be done about that. So on this side, we'll see what they can do off the kickoff again. Not much is going to come out of this. A challenge in the corner. He's going to try to take this one over the top, flip it up over the defense, but Gamma's going to catch to send this the other way. Demo in as well. Leave it to a potential brief 2-on-1 before the respawns come through. Back loose picked up to at least slow this attack down. I just think that this first 90 seconds of this series has been really representative of how this series is going to go.
Gamma looked like he got stopped midair right there. That was something interesting to watch. Like all momentum of his car just stopped entirely in midair. Very interesting, but nonetheless, 2 minutes in, besides those two goals, it's been a lot of back and forth. Nexus has had to make some really crucial saves, but the same can be said towards Stevzy's side, where we've seen Gamma have some really close shots. Misty being kind of quiet right now. 44 points.
Yeah.
Points aren't a huge indicator of what you're doing, but no saves, no shots, no assists, nothing for him so far in this one. So Gamma is going to want a little bit more of a supporting factor here throughout the rest of this game. Needs Misty to show up here in this series.
Huge commit on the offensive front, but they're able to get back in time. And yeah, looking to see what more Misty can offer in this one, because yeah, you cannot have one singular player doing all of the work here. Not to say that Misty's not doing a decent job in a supportive role, just to not get the points. Credited for the shot there, but that's just a ball that happens to go down the field on target and then get pushed aside. But I think they're still doing a really good job of pressuring. They just got to find a better way to set up an attack, set up an opportunity to get a pass, to just leave the ball hanging in front of the net for the teammate to come in to get the shot on, get the goal scored. In the right position, they just got to find the angle, and there it is. They get the opportunity. Gamma comes in off the assist from Misty after a challenge in the corner. Leaves it hanging. No defender in the net. Top 90. Gamma gives them the lead.
I was gonna say, as soon as that challenge in the corner goes through and it's now 2v1 on offense, I was expecting Nexus to have an expected goal, if not score, no matter what there, because that was a really great redirect. I think coming from Gamma, it was a pass from Misty in the initial pass, I think, but nonetheless, it was a great chance because once that second player had missed going for that challenge in the corner, there was a 2 versus 1. Both players had near 100 boost for Nexus, so it was very easy for them to go downfield to be able to carry that momentum to the other side. And with 1 minute and 30 seconds left, they look to try and just hold this lead against a very offensively strong Stevzy team, which Stealth and Revzy are in a good position to score here, and he gets it right past Gamma. No boost for Misty, and Gamma in an awkward position easily means a second goal and a tying goal for Revzy.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up, the no boost point, in the sense that in that last possession, we saw Stevzy take the back boost twice, the mid boost, and their own back boost. There was no chance for Nexus to get anything, to be able to keep up, to be able to put an attack together, nothing. So even in the time that it respawned, there was no way they could get there in time. And Gamma's backflip, unfortunately, just puts the car facing the wrong direction. There's no chance to react, no chance to save, to give the equalizer to Stevzy. Just a very solid 20-30 seconds of Rocket League play there from Stevzy to make sure that when the time came to, they're going to get a shot on, they're going to have a really good chance of scoring a goal.
A minute left in this one. Gamma's doing whatever he can to keep them in this game so far. He's able to carry that one out initially. Revzy's trying to make his way all the way back. Stealth with kind of an awkward touch in midfield, but somehow is able to get a second touch there. Revzy going to leave the midfield boost, just trying to go for a quick flick. Gamma is there, though, to make that stop, and Stealth is still trying to keep this on target, but no boost for either of the players here for Stevzy. Revzy was able to go back in time and get some boost, so at least recollects that midfield. Same with Stealth. And another attack is brewing. Stealth goes a little bit too wide, though, with the ball, but that's an open net for Revzy, and the lead for the first time in this series for Stevzy.
Well, the first time could not come at a more crucial time with the double commit going right to left. Gamma just unfortunately a little too far in the momentum to carry over to that side. Gives the open net, like you said, and a great follow-up there by Revzy to get the shot on, get that opportunity. And first lead, 23 seconds left. You could not be in a better position. Now you just got to be able to hold on to this.
Oh,
or add to it.
Hold on. Yeah, or add to it. Make it to where Nexus have a little to no chance on a comeback with 16 seconds left. Great dribbling by Revzy, and he's able to get that to the right side of his car and get a flick over Gamma into the net. It's really difficult to try and predict those and try and save that, so you can't blame Gamma at all for that situation, but you can only just say that Stevzy are on top of their game now, and have put that 2-goal lead with only, like I mentioned, 16 seconds. Very, very hard for Nexus to find an answer, and Stealth is just wasting time here. That's all he needs to do.
All they got to do to watch this countdown timer go to hit zeros on the board. The ball's long, ball's gone, and game is to Stevzy, who they didn't have the lead, like you said, until 23 seconds left in that game. But that was more than enough that they needed, because as long as you're leading and winning the game with zeros on the board, that is all that matters. Doesn't matter how long it took you to get there. So a really good job there by Stevzy just to stay in the game, make sure they kept their head in it. And we can take a look at the replays to showcase just how they went from that deficit into a position where they would walk away with this game.
Yeah, and like you had mentioned, it was extremely back and forth until the last 20 seconds, in which Stealth and Revzy came out on top. Gamma had a great start to this game, able to get that first goal passed. And then we see on the other side, Gamma with a great second save, but missed. Unfortunately, gets a backflip here and is a crucial mistake in leaving a wide open net there for Revzy. So they're able to equally tie it up. This is the corner challenge I was talking about. Stealth overcommits, and now suddenly it was just Revzy back in a 2 versus 1, and really great commit there from Missy to challenge that. And like you said, a great shot from Gamma to get that leading goal once again. But it's non-stop from Stealth and Revzy, and this is another just easy shot for Revzy to go through. And a minute of time goes past, nothing's really happened. Some good saves on both sides, and then suddenly it just gets opened wide up.
And being able to open it wide up like that, coming back into the late game stages, and then having the confidence for Stevzy to be able to take the lead and then add on to it, just to have that little extra bit of confidence to go into game number 2 with the game victory to go to in the second one. As we get into this, now we'll see if Nexus can hold on to at least the momentum that they built up, because they looked good for the first 3.5, 4 minutes of that game, but then in the last minute 45 seconds, it just kind of broke down slowly but surely, enough to let Stevzy come back and take the first one. So now you just got to make sure that you cover from end to end, just do your job, Make sure all your
pre-jump.
bases are covered. Great opportunity from Stealth, just a swing and a miss there from end to end on that pre-jump.
Oh, and that's a double
but
tap
Misty.
in from, not Misty,
What a tough
from
angle.
Revsy. Revsy's the one that scored that, I'm pretty sure, on his own net. I think Misty took this all the way down, and Revsy's actually the one that connected. No, just kidding. That was
blue line.
absolutely guaranteed to Misty there. Well done from Misty to be able to find that second tap in, and this is exactly the time that he needs to show up. Game 1 lost, Game 2 started, and Gamma's already back towards the other side of the net, but somehow, like you said, a really difficult angle. Misty's able to get the lead. Once again for Nexus, they just have to hold it. And that worrisome last 20 seconds is where they're looking at now. But right now, great saves from Gamma through the last 2 games.
Ooh.
That should have been a goal. Revsy goes just a bit wide.
It just missed it by that much. Demo in the corner onto Revsy, leaves this to just Stealth here on the attack, and credited with the save to Misty, but someone just trapped very well in the corner. Misty now going to be challenging this ball coming into their zone out of midfield. Just try to send it back to leave them on the attack. A little bit of the commit there on the ball from both players. Seeming a little miscommunication between them. It's going to leave the defensive zone open, but Misty, great end around to be able to make sure in position to make that save and not give up the equalizer goal. Misty with an opportunity, but Nexus shuts that one down. Misty's got to get back in time, and does. So 2 times, Misty gets back. If Misty gets demoed here, Gamma's going to clear this out. Let the respawn come through, but an open
what a
net
shot.
on the corner. Beautiful passing play, realizing the defense both in the corner, puts it into play. Great 1-2, great equalizer.
I think that goes just a bit wide, too, if Stealth isn't there. That is incredible.
Yes.
Obviously, I think Revsy wanted a shot there initially, but it went wide. But Stealth, with really good recovery positioning there, able to get that one back on target with a very small sliver. And Misty is having the game of his career so far. Like we had mentioned, this is the time he needs to show up, and he's doing so. But it's a very close shot comes through from Stealth. Gamma's going to make that second clearance. But now Nexus is turning it up a little bit. We're seeing both Misty and Gamma start to perform exactly how they're expected to. And going into Game 2, they do lose the lead once again. But they're looking, I think, much better than the first game.
I think significantly better. I think they're keeping pace and they're just matching what Stevzy are trying to do on this one. I think there's minute weaknesses that we've seen from Nexus Gaming that Stevzy have had potential to take advantage of, but the fact that they haven't and they don't have that lead says more about what Nexus are able to do. And maybe they're lucky, maybe it's just skill, maybe it's completely calculated, but they're still in this game, and almost a beautiful save there by Gamma coming from left to right, but is able to get enough of a deflection, and just too little too late by Gamma. Revsy gets that goal to give him a go-ahead.
A lot of 2s on the clock, a lot of 2s for Stevzy as they go up ahead in this game and are already up in the series. So an important Game 2 for Nexus to try and equalize the series, but even more so for Stevzy to try and maybe take this out in a 3-0 fashion. Great bump there from Misty, but no one is back in goal. Revsy doesn't have enough boost to follow that one up. Probably could have had a decent chance there if he had any sliver of boost. But that's a nice touch from Misty to get past one. Just has to worry about the second, and he gets it past him too.
What a move.
Misty, with the game of his career so far, equalizes this back up in 20 seconds. Misty with a great flip reset to get that one past the defending player in Stealth. And just incredible from Misty so far in this game too.
Yeah, and that's just the greatest way to answer Captain Falcon's question, or Captain Falcon's request, to show me your moves. Misty showed the moves right there with that individual play to get past the defense. An incredible just showcase of talent that Misty has individually. I mean, we talked about what Misty was not doing in game number 1 to be able to be on the board. Misty, opportunity for a double touch there, goes a little wide. Watch the follow from Gamma. Good interruption from Revsy over the top. Instead, this ball will fizzle, but still a tie game, minute and a half to play. Right as I expected, right as I said, I think this series, this game, everything will go down to the wire. These two teams are so evenly matched. They've played each other in the second qualifiers finals. They know what to expect. They know what's at hand. This is just the best matchup you could possibly ask for going into this opening round.
Yeah, I think it's a good matchup for both teams because they know how each other play. I'm pretty sure Stevji came out on top in that grand finals. I'd have
They
to go
did.
back and check, but
They did.
it was still a spot to where Nexus could win, and now they're in that similar spot to where now Misty is looking fantastic. Gamma already had some a great game one, and now is following that into game two. But they just have to stop Stealth and Revzy from constantly coming back because they keep getting the lead. They start off 1-0. Go back to 1-1, start, 2-1, and then they're like, all right, now let's just keep it, and then Stealth and Revzy score again. So if they're able to keep one of these leads that they have, yeah, this is the important time in the game. We saw them give up 2 goals in the first game, trying to avoid that in this next one. Misty's going to boom that one downfield with a chance on the counterattack here. With 15 seconds left, it might be an overtime game for game 2.
Very well could be. They have plenty of boost to work with here, but Demo is going to make a potential numbers advantage. Revzy's going to kill momentum to try to challenge. Great challenge by Misty. Able to make sure that doesn't go through. Now watch the counter attack over the top. He got the juke over the defender. A second left on the clock, and Nexus Gaming take the lead over Stevzy. Stealth just could not get high enough. The hop's not good enough. Misty with the go-ahead goal with almost nothing on the board.
With 1 second left on the clock, Nexus Gaming look at their first win in this series, and it is going to be as such, as that is a tying series lead, or tying series now for the likes of Nexus Gaming in with basically zeros on the clock, almost getting there with zeros on the clock, able to get that one passed on the counterattack, and that was a lot of back and forth for the last 20 seconds. It looked like either team really could have scored that third goal to put them into the lead into game number 2, but now that equals up the series a little bit, and I believe starting on EU, I'll have to make sure on that one. We'll take a look at the replays for game number 2 with another 5-goal game collectively from both sides. But, I mean, that shows how close the series will be and is going to continue to be.
And like, even if it comes down to a 3-1 scoreline, in the series, I still think that this is just 2 of the best matched up teams, like you said, as to who could face off in not only the opening round, but in this series, in the top 8 in general. Like, these 2 teams did not disappoint whatsoever in their qualifier number 2 finals, and this is just keeping pace with what we saw in that event. And now the fact that we have this great back and forth play, that is a game of inches. It's a matter of minuscule reaction times and being able to get past your defenders. And I think getting past the defenders and just a small little skill move is all the difference that was here for Misty and Gamma, because they did it the first time to get that second goal to tie the game. They did it for that last goal as well, to get past that defender, to get that goal scored. Right now, Nexus Gaming is showcasing some skill.
Yeah, they are, and that was a really important comeback game from Misty right there as well. We talked about how game 1 is a little bit lackluster on his side. It might have been why Stealth and Revzy got so dominant towards the end of that game, but game 2, he came back with a quick fashion and immediately showed and got that winning goal there on the counterattack. So, yeah, great flick from Misty and just a great game in general from the Nexus Gaming lads to get a 1-1 tie in the series now. Of course, best of 5, so still have to win 2 more in this series, in which they look to go up against Amber Geysa in the semifinals, I believe, have advanced, and we'll see if that semifinals goes through. But like we'd mentioned, Dead, X Sneaky, and Pablo and Aqua already on the top semifinals. This is for one of those top paying spots. I believe whoever wins this game is guaranteed at top 3, considering Amber Geysa are out of the tournament completely, I believe, at this point. So I think this is a situation that this is an increasingly important series just for the quarterfinals, because there's a lot on the line for the overall arch in this tournament.
Yeah, and this just adds that much more weight and that much more merit to this matchup, because they competed for a first and second prizing in that second qualifier, the 9th of September. And now, theoretically speaking, potentially competing for first and second prizing here again in a quarterfinal matchup, in the sense that they are, if they win, to go play for first and second. There is no third place match. That's it. I mean, that's going to be where we're at. So going into this matchup for game number 3, a best of 3 now. We started with the best of 5, but such a good back and forth here between these 2 teams. The best of 3, and I still don't know who you give edge to. I think that it's impressive to see what Misty and Gamma have done to take early leads, but this time around, Stevzy will say no more early leads for Nexus Gaming. We're going to be the first ones to strike. They get the first goal in 5 seconds.
Yeah, and I was actually kind of afraid going into this one because I believe this series was 2 NA matchups in the first 2 games and then 2 EU games after. So the fact that Stealth and Rebsy were able to win one of those NA games is really important for the overall aspect of this series, and almost won both of the NA games as they are the EU team here.
Ooh.
And that's a second goal in that gets tapped in. And this was what I was worried about going into game 3, game 4, because the last time we saw Nexus on EU, it was a thrashing. I can't even lie. It was qualifier number 3. They went into whatever their matchup was in qualifier number 3, went into EU and had a lot of troubles dealing with the ping and dealing with the server switch. But it's something that both teams have to play through. So it's something that you can't really like disqualify, you know, a team for or count them out, because Nexus just, or Stebsy just had to do that, and they won one of the 2 games, almost both. So this is where Stealth and Rebsy try to keep their lead, but Nexus is able to find a quick one back as Misty gets a good challenge here from Gamma in midfield, and he is able to find the bump after. And that is at least going to bring him back within 1 in just 30 seconds.
Now, see, here's where my counterpoint's going to come through. You are correct in the sense that when they went to the EU server, they got demolished. They were also playing Pablo and Aqua. So
that's true, and we see how those guys work so far.
Like I'm gonna put an asterisk on that one. Like, yeah, they didn't do great on EU, but they were also playing Pablo and Aqua, which is a lot. I think Stealth and Rebsy, they have the ability to hold a candle to Pablo and Aqua for sure. I don't think they match up to the level of Pablo and Aqua, but I think that it still says a decent amount about Nexus and the odds that they have playing on an opposite server. I just think that it's a lack of experience playing on the other side, and I can't say one way or the other without actually being there. Don't know for sure, but you know, to come into this one now down 3-1 under 60 seconds, where it's been a real slow burn for every other game to this point, is on the concerning side for NXG and what they can do in this next 3 minutes and change.
Yeah, they're gonna have to find a rather quick comeback within the next couple of minutes here. Misty could find one here, gets a good challenge onto Stealth, but not able to do anything with it whatsoever. Revsy going to continue this one. Still has 40 boost as well. Finds a second flip reset, almost a double tap off the backboard too. Revsy keeping it on the streak here with being one of the best players in this tournament, trying to continue that. But like you had mentioned, I now can't believe how much I criminally underrated Pablo and Aqua, considering I didn't even look at the history of Aqua. He's one of the first, you know, duo partners that Smokes had, besides the likes of Toxic and Kiernan, that we saw in the threes tournament as well. And Pablo has looked incredible. So to show you that those are the 2 players that I was not thinking about is a lot. And that's not a great miss, but Misty's able to recover and keeps them in this game. If they drop the 3rd goal there, even with 3 minutes, it's a large comeback against this team. Revsy gets a little bit fancy with that one, trying to get a little bit of a turtle goal, or a tomato goal, a backwards goal, whatever you call it in this sense. But 3-1 so far with 2 minutes and 40 seconds ticking. Nexus got to find one at least soon to have a chance of coming back.
If Revsy got away with that one, that was for sure going on the highlight reel for them. You know, looking for team, by the way, that's a shot that would have gone on the reel. That would have got you signed to a squad regardless. But yeah, looking for that, again, that makeup goal for Nexus Gaming to what they can find on this side. They're doing well enough to now create offensive pressure and opportunity. Misty's going to get the shot, but enough of a deflection on the backside. Defense going to hold strong. Now watch the counterattack. Revsy with the shot on. Great save by Misty there to make sure that it does not go in. They do not add to this lead. Defender missed on the other side. Gamma's got to make one more. Revsy will not bite. So instead, another counter to come through. Dish over to the center. It's going to be played off the wall by Stealth. So they cannot add much more to this one. Misty and Gamma got to find this counterattack. And I think that their offense and the counter potential has really stepped up. But man, are they walking a fine line here on the offensive pressure and giving up the defensive presence.
Stealth gets dribbled over there a little bit, but as I was expecting a 4th goal to come through from Stealth and Revsy, because Stealth had been zoning out Gamma on their push forward, and Revsy was basically in the 1v1 versus Missy. And Missy has been really, really on top of it so far these last couple of games, which is really impressive. I mean, obviously we know he's a fantastic player. We never discredit him as a player, and there he goes again, finding his 2nd goal of the game for Nexus' 2nd goal of the game, and now brings him back within 1 with 1 minute and 15 seconds left. Gamma gets that initial touch off the backboard, and Misty's able to just carry that one past Stealth. And an important goal to get their comeback to be started
Huge.
here in game 3.
Yeah, still 75 seconds to play here. I had to do math real quick there. It got real dangerous real quick. But yeah, 75 ticks on the clock to see what they can find. And I think, again, the pressure that they've created has done a really good job to be able to try to get past and outmaneuver this defense. And Misty did a phenomenal job there on that, the first touch and the second, to get over the top of Stealth. Good bump here on Stealth to make sure that that pass doesn't come through in the corner into the center. But under a minute to play, Nexus have to find at least one more here if they want to try to have a better chance. I think they've got a decent shot if it does go into overtime, because as long as this game has gone on, it feels like they've just gotten better. A demo under Revzi is going to shut this attack down pretty quickly here, but still going to take a solo play off the double touch, get past the lone defender, wins the 1v1, and gets the insurance lead here. 32 seconds played. Stezzy regains a 2-goal lead.
Yeah, that's a really important goal there for Stealth and Revzi as they get themselves that 2-goal gap. Once again, with only 30 seconds left, we had mentioned that Nexus needed to answer back, and they did, but not expecting Stealth and Revzi to answer back to their answer back. Now we're answering back to the answer back to the answer back, and now with 25 seconds left, Stealth and Revzi look to answer back on the second game. That's Nexus had won just on zeros on the clock, basically 1 second left. Stealth and Revzi have looked fantastic in this game, which is to be expected. And 10 seconds left in this one. It's happened to read what Trevor is saying is just a mean man. Trevor's a mean man. That's all everyone needs to know in chat.
No proof.
But with zeros on the clock now, Stealth and Revzi win their second game of the series and look to push to game number 4 on that EU server and look to close out the series from there.
And just as close as that game still was, I mean, you can take a look at the replays and just show again, looking at what Stevzy was able to do. You know, even as close as it was, they were able to still, in the later stages of the game, under a minute to play, take advantage of the faults from Misty and Gamma and not only maintain their lead, but continue to hold on to it and build upon it, you know, even if it is a single goal. I mean, it's just only one more goal difference. It is an insurance goal, whatever it may be. But either way, they're able to just hold on, to build upon it, and just ensure that that game was never in question, regardless of the amount of time on the clock.
Yeah, and of course, the replay's powered by Microsoft ATL. Going into the last, 2 minutes here, it got kind of dire for Gamma and Misty as they try to make their way back, and taking with a minute left, this is like one of the only times they really had a chance to come back, in which they did find it with a minute and 15 seconds left. But obviously, all hope immediately turned off, kill switched by Stealth here with that double tap, able to find their 4th goal and that 2-goal lead that every team strives for in each game. That 2-goal lead is kind of that cushion where it feels fine that if you get scored on, you still have a lead. If you get scored on twice, you're still tying. So it's basically back to 0-0. So that 2-goal lead is super important and is basically that, like I said, that kill switch that Stealth and Revzi were able to find in game 3. But now we look to game 4, which is also going to be on the EU server, and Stealth and Revzi have a little bit of advantage there. Like we had mentioned, we've seen a little bit of a struggle. It was against Pablo and Aqua, which are just a struggle bus team at this point. They are one of the best teams we've seen so far. Scoring at now average of 8 goals in this grand finals is it's kind of a lot going into this. So we'll see how they match up in the semifinals. But going into game number 4 here, my prediction of 3-1 is on the line. Your prediction of 3-2 is on the line. We'll see if Stealth and Revzi can win out the series, or if Gamma and Misty can find their way back. And that's an open net. Goes top left. Revzi is able to just barely put that. And that is a goal and a lead, once again, for Stevzy.
Yeah, good little delay there by Stealth in the air just to get the flip reset, keep it in the air, and basically just stall that ball out so that your teammate can come in and get the nose on, get the shot on, and the defender has to then commit to the air and just take a guess as to whether you're going to take the shot on the flip reset after the stall, or if you're going to play it off to your teammate. And at that point, it was just a matter of, okay, defender bit on the flip reset shot. Instead, just dish it to your teammate. That's an easy shot, easy goal there for Stevzy. Great play, great read on the lone defender.
And Stealth and Revzi want to try and continue this momentum. No breaks. That is a really nice shot. It just goes a little bit wide left, though. Could have been a chance there for Gamma, I believe it was, to get this one back. Great challenge, though. Gets this one close. Stealth just barely getting that one out of the top area of the net. And Stealth and Revzi still going to push on forward here as if nothing had just happened. Gamma going to find a demo, but Stealth is going to waste time here at midfield with that ball. Also bumps Misty into an awkward position here, and Stealth's gonna have to fall back for some boost. And there's some this whole series is really important on early challenges. 2 misses there in midfield.
Yeah.
That is just gonna go wide. That is something you don't see too often from either one of these teams. So that really should have been a goal, I guess, for either team. Since considering they both missed, it could have been a goal for either side. But Gamma and Misty were on their attacking side of the field, so it could have been a chance for them. And they need to find one to try and equalize this one back. But insane redirect comes through from Stealth. Pass goes perfectly from Revsy into the pre-jumping Stealth, and that is an incredible angle.
Stealth even coming out of the box looking like a defender in that situation to try to challenge the ball. Instead is the only one up in the air trying to get in position while the lone defender is back still on the floor trying to guess where that ball is going to go. Stealth did a phenomenal job. Watch Misty come back to try to get one back. Stealth is going to deny that one and shut the door, so there's no chance to get it down to 1 minute and a half into this game. Stevzy right now are still rolling off their momentum from their last victory, and now we'll see what Gamma can do on an open opportunity. Get past the one-on-one, cannot do so. Revsy will step up to make that save. Midfield boost being picked up by Misty. I look for a counter opportunity. Both of them playing around midfield and looking for that midfield possession. Instead gets sent towards the corner. The boost will get picked up, and now a little brief reset for the defensive front on Nexus. Back boost is picked up by Stealth. And to get around both the defenders, there's a chance there, but can't get the redirects, can't get the angle on. Very tough angle from above the net. There's not a very high chance that ball's going to get shot on.
Stealth can be the one. We just saw the goal before this. That is a crucial goal for Misty, though. I think just an early challenge here. I want to see exactly what happened. Stealth was kind of put in an awkward position. I don't even see where Revsy is. Revsy, yeah, just goes right past him. So just the speed of that shot was able to go through, and that is the comeback goal that Nexus needed with 2.5 minutes left, just about halfway through this game. Now that 1-goal lead looks ever so small, but we'll see if Stealth and Revsy can add to it. That is a chance there for Stealth to come off the corner. Gamma's gonna have a decent touch here. Gets challenged early though. And Revsy now pushing on back, and that is an open net. Goes off the crossbar and away, and now that should just be a goal for Misty. But he can't get his car back straight. He kept fumbling. It looked like he couldn't get his car to reposition. So what should have been an open goal for both teams now turns for no goal for either team. That's an insane redirect.
Very quick goal going the other way. Stealth puts all kinds of velocity behind this. 74 miles an hour to the back of the net. Great pass between the defenders, and Stealth gets in behind the last one to get that shot on from the corner. Again, another really tough angle. Stevzy, though, they just love this insurance goal. They do not want it to be a close accord. They do not want any chance whatsoever for NXG to be able to tie this game up. Stevzy, they didn't, like we said, in game number 1, didn't lead at all until 20 seconds left. But as much as they want this insurance goal, NXG just will not go down without a fight.
That is a crucial goal back in this one. Gamma, Stealth almost gets there in time once again. Stealth and Revsy have had some insanely close saves so far in this game, and I'm sure got to tilt Nexus a little bit with how close they've been a few times. It's basically been on the goal line that these saves have come through a couple of times here. But that is at least comforting to get that goal back. So now they're within 1. This is dangerous, though. It doesn't even look like Gamma has boost. I think that was a main issue there. I said Gamma acknowledges. Had to look at it and go, yeah, there's no chance here for me, because he saw this ball go up. You saw Gamma right now. He just stared at it, and I think that is an issue with boost there. Gamma was not able to get that corner spawn in time, and that is the 2-goal lead back in favor for Stealth.
So again, as soon as we get the NXG answer, we go right back the other way to make it a Stevzy 2-goal insurance lead. Looking to add to it in front of the net. That ball can't get redirected in to the back of the net inside that upright, but I see he's going to try to clear. Does miss on that first touch, but it's going to keep this one towards the wall to see if Gamma can come up and challenge, where we met by Revs. He's going to try to bring this one around into Stealth. He's going to have a great play off.
What a
great save by Gamma, but watch the replay, watch the putback between both of them. Stealth gets in the way of the ball, so Revsy can't get a good shot on, good opportunity. So we hit the 1-minute mark here, still a 2-goal lead, but Stevzy knocking on the door here. Couple of misses there in the air will give Revsy possession, try to get past the defender. Just can't do much more than that.
If that goal goes through, I think that's just the series clinching goal from Stealth and Revsy. That would have been the 5th goal with about a minute left, and Nexus Gaming look at another defeat. Would have been a really rough spot for them to have any chance to come back in this one from 3. But they're going to need to find one soon. With 2 goals left still in the bank here, they got to find one now. And Stealth and Revsy's goal, obviously at this point, is just to try and stall this game as much as they can, keep it on this side of the field, take their boost, and not give them any chance. That ball goes to the other side, but Revsy is going to be there in time. And 0 boost for Gamma. That should have been an open net, but he sends it just wide. And the only chance Nexus could have had was right there. And now goes to the other side. And that, all of their hope goes out the window. Stealth might find another goal, fakes one. But that is it for Nexus Gaming. A 3-1 scoreline, like I had mentioned. A very close series nonetheless, though. Could have gone 5.
Yeah.
GG's to Stealth and Revsy, though. A incredible series, and they were able to just keep the lead when they needed to. And just a very close 4 games through both teams. As we take a look at the series replay, powered by Microsoft ATL. Shout out to Microsoft ATL, powered by Microsoft ATL. We love Microsoft ATL. And Stealth and Revsy are going to, of course, start the madness in most of these games. Well, I say that, but for the most part, Gamma and Misty had the lead through the first 2 or 3 games. They just couldn't hold it. That was the issue, is they realistically could have won the series 3-0. They just needed to keep that scoring down to a minimal from the other side, and they just could not do it. Stealth and Revsy are too strong of a team to try and keep a 0 for them.
Yeah, again, just a really solid matchup between these 2 squads, and I think that it could have gone either direction. Misty and Gamma had their opportunities going the other way. This opportunity's obviously showing, you know, Misty was right there, but just could not get that car realigned, couldn't get the confidence back, didn't even have the boost anyways. But if you were straight and narrow to get the shot on, maybe you have a better chance. But just a very quick answer going back the other way, a lot of difficult angles. I mean, this replay package powered by Microsoft ATL just really shows what eventually Stealth and Revsy were capable of doing, but Misty and Gamma just found a way to break them down time and time again to at least keep it close, get within 1. But again, that insurance goal was just always there for Stevzy.
Yeah, they were always on top of it through that series, and they constantly were able to come back, and that can be said for both teams. Nexus already repeatedly through that series tried to come back through multiple games and almost got there a few times, but just didn't have enough time or didn't have the opportunity to try and score that goal they needed. And Stealth and Revsy played their part in the last 30 to 45 seconds in 2 of those games where they just needed to waste time, not give them any chances to score on the other side. And that's totally viable strategy and a smart strategy. Just keep it on their side of the field, not even giving them a chance to come back or have that counterattack goal that we have seen before. And that's what actually got them the lead. I think with 1 second on the clock in game 2 was off of a counterattack from Gamma over to Misty. And they were able to find a quick counter and a quick game win, in which is their only game win of the series, unfortunately, as like you can see below, Stevzy win in that series 3-1. And now we go to the semifinals, in which Dead and Sneaky and Pablo and Aqua are going to face each other. And then I believe Stevzy gets advanced through as Amber Gesa drops that series. So that is a very, very important addition. But now top 3 looks ever so close. And this semifinal is going to be incredible.
Yeah, cannot ask for anything more out of these 2 squads. I mean, Dead and Sneaky, Pablo and Aqua. This is, again, just like we Dead Sneaky Top Cougars, this is a grand finals worthy matchup here, and it's in the semifinals. I think this is probably one of the best series here between these 2 squads, and probably one of the most anticipated series that we're going to be able to see.
Yeah, after this break, we'll get to watch that fantastic matchup, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with some amazing Rocket League action. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to the IATL Grand Finals here for the month of September. My name, of course, Troy Pidwelling. Next to me, Trevor Caribou McNeil. I have to keep trying to cut off the confused because you're still confused in my heart, but you're not confused
No.
when we're doing the show, apparently. But like we said, we have seen some incredible games. Now we go into the semifinals matchup. The Dead and Sneaky and Pablo and Aqua, I'm hoping is a best of five and goes to all five because this series should live up to its potential. Like this is probably the best series you'll see in the entire month of September for Rocket League. Like it's not even
Yeah.
me, saying that lightly. These are incredible teams. With how Dead and Sneaky performed against Top Cougars, my expectations are through the roof for how this series should go now.
Yeah, and after the fact that this is a rematch of our last grand finals for the
Right.
qualifier between Pablo Aqua Dead Sneaky, and why we got to give credit to this in my last outro of the
Oh
third
yeah.
qualifier finals. I love teams that do this because it makes it so easy to remember who's on the teams because it's just
Yep.
right there, right in front of my stupid face. So I don't get confused. I can just be Caribou. And I love being able to see these two squads face off one more time because you'll get at least half of that request. It will be a best of five. Whether it goes all 5 games or not is a completely different conversation because what Dead and Sneaky did in the first round against Top Cougars to 3-0 them is a little interesting and a little as exciting as to what they're going to be able to do here in this matchup because Pablo and Aqua seem like they look good in their matchup against Serendipity. They scored a lot,
Yeah.
but is it enough to overcome what Dead and Sneaky did against the likes of Top Cougars?
Yeah, and I don't know. It's gonna be really fun to watch because we didn't know the exact score line of how their 3-0 win against Top Cougars, but clearly to 3-0 Top Cougars, you had to have put on a performance. So I'm expecting I would put Pablo and Aqua in a similar caliber of the Top Cougars team. So I think it's gonna be a crazy close matchup. But then Sneaky, if they're just on top of it like they were against Top Cougars, it could be wild. But that being said, Pablo and Aqua looked amazing. So it really could be said either way. And obviously, the bottom half of the bracket, Stevzy, like we mentioned, RL's2 tournament and Amber Gaysa both did not show. So they just got straight to a bye in the second round of the semifinals
Right.
on the bottom half. So we'd mentioned the bottom half was already easier. Put that on
Right.
top of it, Stevzy now advances themselves to the grand finals already. So Dead and Sneaky, Pablo and Aqua play for the finalists against Stevzy, in which whoever wins this game wins the tournament. Like there's no doubt in my mind that these are the two best teams in the tournament right now, and they're facing off
Yeah.
in the semifinals. So I am incredibly interested to see how this series goes.
Yeah, and I want to say that this went to because it was a best of five in the qualifiers. I want to say it was a 3-1 score. I don't. You remember if they went to a full 5 games last week?
I don't think they did. I think we said 3-1. We're like, it's gonna be close,
Yeah.
but I think we both said 3-1. I think it ended 3-1, but they were
Yeah,
close, obviously.
yeah, Dead and Sneaky took that edge in that one. And so I think again, you just have to favor Dead and Sneaky one more time in this matchup just
Yeah.
because they have history on their side. And just because, like you said, Pablo and Aqua probably in a pretty similar scope as to what the Top Cougar squad offers. So gonna be very, I think, I wouldn't say incredibly uphill battle here for the likes of Pablo Aqua, but it is not going to be easy. They just have to make sure that they can still produce the offense that they did against Serendipity. On the other side, they have to be able to slow down Dead and Sneaky, which is not easy. It's a lot easier said than done, to be fair. So we'll see which offense shows up and who can slow the other team down.
Yeah, and that'll be interesting to see as we start game number one. Aqua is going to be the first one in possession here for Aqua and Sneaky, or Aqua and Pablo, and Sneaky sits on the backboard waiting for something to happen, and that's exactly what you need to do in situations like that, and that's why I think Sneaky and Dead have a great chance in this matchup, because they understand how Pablo and Aqua work, and they know the way they score goals. They're incredible players, so it's hard to decipher how they score goals, but sitting on the backboard is one of the most important things you can do in Rocket League to stop some of those plays from being created, and obviously challenging early, which I'd mentioned in the previous series. Early challenges at midfield before you let them create is something that every team needs to do, and is what both teams are going to be doing a lot of in this game, in this series in general.
60 seconds almost gone and still haven't seen 8 goals scored as of yet. A little bit of back and forth, but not a lot to go through on either side here. Sneaky's going to take this one to the corners. Going to see a demo onto Pablo. Dead's going to get a ball over to the center, but there is no follow as Sneaky's back on the rotation. See Pablo take a little flip up over the top, but Sneaky will not bite. Gets a deflection back. Aqua puts it back into play, but again, no rotation from the offensive attack to come back through. Dead with a good fake over to the side. He's going to get one defender to bite, get the second as well. Nice little dodge dip duck, dive, and dodge through the defense to get the first goal.
And that is just some great control there from Dead to be able to get that past Aquas, and Pablo nowhere in the likes to try and save that one away from once he got past Aqua. So Dead and Sneaky, the first ones to start this race off in both EU teams. So it'll be probably quick reset, quick turnarounds between each game between these two as they go into the later stages of this one. I'm wondering, do you still think it's going to be like 3-1? Do you think it's going to go 0-5? That's not a good indication.
I don't think it is a good indication. I think that it's going to be difficult for Pablo and Aqua to find anything. Cool. The fact that we're 90 seconds in, but yeah, just from one side of the field to the next to go the distance, I think that's probably a goal that we're not going to see a lot of. A quick counterattack goal like that, but I think if there's going to be a team to do it, it's the likes of Dead and Sneaky, because Pablo and Aqua is so heavy on the offensive attack. They might have a lot of opportunities open on the other side that Dead and Sneaky can take advantage of. But just the amount of pressure that I think the blue side is applying here to Pablo and Aqua is almost seemingly like it's too much. Like, I don't know if Pablo and Aqua is going to be able to find an answer for this.
Yeah, and this is kind of what we were wondering, because obviously we know Dead and Sneaky, we put Pablo and Aqua in a similar caliber of top Cougars, and they can score a lot. They are very good individual players and have some decent connection and communication with each other. But if Dead and Sneaky were to 3-0 a team like top Cougars, and we are comparing Pablo and Aqua, is this a 3-0 from Dead and Sneaky in that same sense where we're relating them to top Cougars? This series might just end the same. Aqua's own goals? Okay. Or is that from Sneaky? I think that was from Sneaky, but Aqua at an awkward angle. I want to rethink this one because it looked like that went off of Aqua. Oh, that's absolutely from Aqua. Yeah. That is an own goal and a third goal for Dead and Sneaky. Something you don't want to see from the Pablo and Aqua side in a semifinals matchup.
It's even harder when you're the only one that's not scoring, right? Like, I mean, you've seen Dead and Sneaky just spend so much time on the other side, and now all of a sudden you get this missed touch where it accidentally just gets slingshotted towards your own net, and that just makes bad problems even worse. To go into this one past the halfway point 2 minutes ago, down to 3 goals against the likes of this squad is such a hard deficit to come back from. And I think in this position, it's almost one of those things where you have to just kind of take notes over what happens over the next 2 minutes to apply for a game strategy in this next match, because this is just not going the way you really want it to. And I think it's just a matter of take what you can get, leave nothing behind, and find a way to play better next round.
Yeah, and you're going to have to get creative. That's the main thing I'm seeing for Pablo and Aqua. They're so used to scoring. I mean, they scored some fantastic goals, don't get me wrong, in their last series. But against a defense like Dead and Sneaky, who put a 4th on the board, you got to get creative. You got to go for the demos. You got to get the bumps. You got to create space for your team to be able to get something. And like you see right there, I mean, completely out of position. Aqua does get the demo, but puts Pablo in a 1-versus-1 situation. And I would say most of the time, the person with the ball is at a huge advantage going against the person in net, because the person with the ball can do so many things. You can keep it low, you can go for a flick, you can go for a flick reset. There's just a lot of different ways, different angles that you can take the ball from that scenario. So that'll be something to keep an eye out for. If Pablo and Aqua gets shut out in the first game, who knows what they're going to look like going into the second, because Dead and Sneaky just have dominated. And maybe Dead is just that player of the tournament that we were talking about. That Sneaky is obviously a great player, but he might have picked up a great second to join him amongst the top of the table.
Yeah, potentially brought in a hell of a ringer here in the likes of Dead to come against this squad, because what we saw from Pablo and Aqua in their opening series was something like 23, 24 goals across the 3 games in that 3-0 series, and they allowed 0. To now score 0 and give up 4 at least in this one, depending if there's any garbage time goals coming out of this one in the last 30 seconds. This is a tale of 2 different teams. And we talk about the Dead Sneaky miracle run where they 3-0 top Cougars. See if they can 3-0 a squad of Pablo and Aqua. That's going to be number 5 given up with 20 on the clock. This is not the way Pablo and Aqua envisioned this series to start, but Dead and Sneaky are just right where they want to be.
Using the game chat, a little extra trigger on top of it all. Just let him get him a little bit more mad going to the rest of this series. Try and get him amped up as much as you can. I think that's a great strategy. Sneaky's going to find the demo off goal. and that should lead to a goal in which they go up 6-0 against one of the teams we are rating as one of the best in the tournament. But I mean, as soon as we saw the 3-0 come through against top Cougars, we realized that Dead and Sneaky probably win the tournament, because if top Cougars can't beat Dead and Sneaky at their top form, nobody can. That is just realistic views from the point of what we've seen so far from Dead and Sneaky. And obviously, since they have faced up against each other last time, Dead and Sneaky won that series almost 3-0. It was close games, but Pablo and Aqua were able to take one game, but it was not close in a couple of those games. And it continues in this series. In their first game, 6-0 in the first game of this best of 5.
6, got 5. I mean, granted, own goal on the board. Yeah, it is what it is in that situation. But even still, regardless of the score that comes down to it, what comes down is the fact that there was a 0 on the board for Pablo and Aqua after what their offense showed in that first series. That is a huge swing of momentum for that squad.
Yeah, it is, and that's something we're not used to seeing it in comparison to what they had in the previous series. But we'll take a look at the Game 1 replays, of course, powered by Microsoft ATL. And we, I mean, like you'd mentioned, we had not seen Pablo and Aqua have a goal struggle like this at all. Obviously, we've only had one best of 5 sample series in this grand finals, but nonetheless, even in any of those games, they didn't have problems. It was 8, 9 goals, 8 again. Like, they just constantly were able to score a lot, but Dead and Sneaky just completely shut them down and even made them own goals. So I'm wondering if that's just the pressure from Dead and Sneaky, or if Aqua and Pablo just can't find similar creation because of the defensive setup that we saw from Dead and Sneaky, and just the power of these two. And I think that's something that was different in this series than we saw in the Serendipity series, is that I think Dead and Sneaky know how to play a smarter defense, I guess you could say, in which they played off the backboard. They played for early challenges. They did not give any chances for Pablo and Aqua to create. And in that Serendipity series, all they had was time. A couple of these times where Pablo or Aqua were just in the air for 5 to 10 seconds, carrying the ball, able to find a flip reset and find a musty flick. So obviously they're fantastic individual players, but as soon as that challenge comes through, and that is what Dead and Sneak have been able to do so far, it's a 0 on the board through this first game. They're looking to come back swiftly in the second.
Already 10 seconds in and some change after this. Pablo's going to try to find one. Of course, they got shut out in the last game, so they got to find anything here in this one, and they got to find one to start. And that's a point I always bring up. Yes, you just got shut out in the last game. It starts with one. If you do not get that first goal, the longer it takes for you to score that first goal, just the worse that it gets for the mental, because it then becomes and poses the question where there's a mental block of, why the hell can we not score on this team? We know we're better than this. We know we're capable of doing so, but what is wrong that we can't do this? And the longer it takes, the worse it gets here for Pablo and Aqua, I think. Dead and Sneaky just got to keep playing their game, keep doing what they did in game number 1, because what they did in game 1, honestly, was downright dirty.
Yeah, it was. It was just something that, I mean, they just couldn't find any answers for Pablo and Aqua. They just constantly are on the scoring attack, and same is so far with game 2 as Dead and Sneaky lead the charge. Once again, Dead just brings this past all the way downfield, and Pablo is just not able to ever get close enough with enough speed to be able to get back in the net. So that is a quick counterattack from Dead and a goal ahead for game 2. A good kickoff goes the way of Dead and Sneaky, but Pablo and Aqua get it to the other side. Good bump midfield also helps. And Pablo with a bit of a uncharacteristic mistake there, not able to keep control of the ball, get that maybe towards the shot in net. That's a good chance. Somehow Dead hits top corner, not able to get in. That should have been a second goal here for Dead and Sneaky, because Pablo was not ready for a shot to come through there.
Yeah, Pablo was ready to commit to the other side on the challenge, coming out of the corner. And then as soon as he recognized the situation, kicks it in reverse. Dead absolutely had him dead to rights to hit that shot in the upper 90. Instead, that one does go aside. Pablo will get credit with the save here, as Dead's going to call that attack off, but get the challenge on. And like he said, I think this is a difference here in this game, in this series, about the defensive prowess between Dead and Sneaky and what they've been able to do, whereas Serendipity wasn't able to do any of it. And it just takes a small interruption of the offensive attack from Pablo and Aqua to be able to create an opportunity, create a chance to go the other way. That one trying to bring that around the corner, but the demo onto Aqua is going to make sure there is no chance for the dish to try to send it back and get an equalizing goal. Ball momentum killed at midfield, but trying to move it past onto this one out of the corner. Full boost is going to get picked up as well by Sneaky. will keep this in, plus the midfield boost, plus the challenge, plus the demo. They just keep creating their own opportunities and advantages that refuse to allow Pablo and Aqua. Like, they didn't let Serendipity participate in the game. Then Sneaky is not letting Pablo and Aqua participate either.
Yeah, no kidding. And this kind of gives me that same feeling of that series earlier, in which Pablo and Aqua are zeros on the clock too, and have had some struggles on offense. They kind of seem like they're the Serendipity of this series right now, in which it's not something you would have expected. Great challenge here, though. Great chance.
Okay.
And a great pass from Pablo to Aqua, and he just gets that pass to one, and that is going to be that tying goal here. Back for game number 2 that they were desperately looking for. And that's just great positioning as well from Aqua to force the goalie to have to avoid the demo, but also focus on the save. And that's what I said earlier at the end of the first game, is that they had to start getting creative, start bumping, start demoing a little bit more. And it's already worked out in game 2.
Yeah, just to find something. And it took a few minutes to get there, but they got that first goal scored in the game and the series. So it's something which is better than nothing. And now they just got to be able to find another one here. Sneaky with a great move. The crossbar, trying to play friends, is going to pick the orange side. But the redirect, the attack from Dead will give the goal back. So minute 34 left, and a great end around by Dead is going to give the lead back to the blue side.
And yeah, they just tried to give him some hope. They said, here, you guys can have this one, but we're going to score right back. I think Aqua changed his name to 6 for some reason. I am not sure why, or it's just the overlay.
I think that's just the spectator thing.
I think it's just the spectator, you're right. But the Aqua is back, and Pablo tries to connect with a minute and 20 seconds left. Pinch doesn't go exactly how Aqua would have wanted. That kind of wanted a little bit more power. Back towards the other side. Good midfield challenge from Aqua, though, gives him another chance and the boost in the corner. This is what we were talking about so importantly. If you want to keep on attacking, that boost, those corner boosts, are some of the most essential boosts you can take in this game.
Yeah.
Constantly leave the goalies with 0, and if you're just able to get it on the top side of the net, when goalies have 0 to 12 boost, they're not going to be able to save that whatsoever.
Yeah, just, again, one of those situations to create advantages. Good challenge right there. The demo onto Pablo is just going to be enough. The smoke screen to stop the attack, but a little bit more than that. Pablo with the shot on is going to go over the top and get in between the defender and the crossbar. 41 seconds left. We get a tie game one more time. Able to get Dead to bite on that one and could not get back in time. So a tie game coming down to it.
Yeah, not surprised, as we knew this series was going to be competitive between these two teams. We're just waiting to see how the game 2 would go, and at least it's a good sign for Pablo and Aqua that they're able to get a couple of goals back. If Aqua didn't find that demo on Sneaky, by the way, that would have been a goal ahead for Den Sneaky once again. Aqua could have just had a musty flick, but no boost meant that goal, unfortunately, gets out of their favor. Still a decent chance here, though. Pablo's going to take it above the net, but quick challenge from, I believe that is Dead, to stop this one with 15 seconds left. Aqua with another chance, but a great challenge comes through, and this could be our first game to overtime. Aqua with a good demo, though, if Pablo can follow this one up, but a great save, but great clearance. This actually might turn into a goal the other way if there's time.
Zeros on the board, did not quite get back in time, had to take a brief detour to get the boost, so instead we go to overtime for the first time here today in our matchup between these two squads. That one almost went in. Watch Sneaky coming on the putback. Watch Dead on the putback to the upper 90. It did not take long at all, but 9 seconds in, Dead and Sneaky are going to take the second game 3-2.
Yeah, impressive out of them as they're able to solidify game number 2 under their belt and inch ever so closely to the grand finals against Stevzy, in which, like we had mentioned, the winner of these games probably win the whole thing. So I say if Dead and Sneaky playing the way they are right now, I think is a 3-0. Honestly, in the finals, I think they just breeze past Stevzy, and they just look solid. And it's not like they're doing anything crazy, or their goals are insane. They are just playing well, right. And that, like, overall as a team, their defense is great. They're on the backboard when they need to. They're challenging perfectly in midfield and stopping all these chances from being created. And I think with Stealth and Revzy, they are going to be in that similar situation of they're going to struggle a little bit on offense as far as Aqua and Pablo are going now, to try and figure out how to get past this really strong defensive setup that they've had so far through 2 games.
It might be a long shot for them. We'll go ahead and take a look at the replays here from that last game, of course, powered by Microsoft. IATL to come into this one. Very close game. Good back and forth. We finally saw the zero broken by Pablo and Aqua. It took about 3 minutes to do so, but they finally get a goal on the board. And of course, because of that fact, they kept it close. We got to see overtime for the first time today.
Yeah, that was important because it gives Pablo and Aqua a little bit of hope, knowing that there is definitely a chance that we could take a game off these guys. And in that same scenario, that is a very important goal for them to obviously come back, but also to understand that there are some easy ways that they can get back in this game. Goal line save here saves the initial chance, but Pablo can't recover. And Dead and Sneaky felt like they were on top of this through the most part of this game. Pablo had his first shot of the game go in, so that was also something important. Pablo was mainly on defense that whole time in game 2, and that first shot luckily went in. And then this was just unfortunate. I mean, off the crossbar, it should have gone in the first time. I thought Dead almost missed the second time too, but luckily was able to put it in the top right. And like we mentioned, Dead and Sneaky moved to a 2-0 fashion in the semifinals. And if they win game 3, move to Stealth and Revsy in the grand finals, in which they play for $450 for first. Guaranteed one of these teams, though, third place, which is fantastic news. You're already getting $100 for the third place spot, so your time does not go unwarranted. Like we mentioned, you make the finals, just show up, and there's a great chance that you have a chance at money, and that's a hard thing to grasp for some teams, it seems.
Yeah, because your odds at this point today went from 37.5 to literal 50%. You have a coin
Yeah,
toss chance to be able to make some money out of this one today. So, again, just show up, forehead. Like, it's easier said than done, but sometimes teams just
right.
don't have the ability to do so. I think that this game, though, really is more reminiscent of the third qualifiers finals because it was a very close
Yeah,
series. I think, we talk about the outlier of a series as to what is that game. Is it the 1-0 scoreline that we see in overtime, or is it the 6-0 that we see where it's just a complete decimation of their opponent? And I think game 1 is probably going to be that one where it just, for whatever reason, was completely one-sided, but now Pablo and Aqua have got up to speed. I think they have a better understanding now of what they need to do. Wouldn't be surprised to see them take a game back. It is all EU across the board, so we don't have to deal with the ping back and forth. But it, I still think, is a tall order because now Pablo and Aqua literally have to reverse sweep this.
Yeah, they do. There's a huge comeback in which they've already struggled to make a comeback in a couple of these games. Obviously, dropping 0 in the first, but able to slightly come back in that second one, but quickly lost it in overtime. So going into this third game, they really need to figure out how to have a lead initially. If they can keep a lead, that is what they're good at. In the last series we saw, they were able to just consistently score after that lead was given their way. But it's, of course, to Dead and Sneaky. They have just countered them the entire time. They've given no time and no chances to Pablo and Aqua on the other side to even create something. And the times they have created, the 2 goals they got in the last game, were off of some very basic Rocket League plays in which you go for a demo, you go for a bump on goal, and you create space. That's exactly what they need to do. That's beautiful work by Sneaky. So I think bump both players from Pablo and Aqua out of the way.
It was just to get enough onto Aqua there on the side, just a little side swipe, and then enough on the quarter panel on the back side to, again, like you said, bump both of them out. Leaves an open shot open for Dead to be able to take that one. Dead look for another one off the kickoff here. Look for the double touch, make it a triple. Can't not do so. We'll get pushed aside here by Pablo, but immediately they are right back in the offensive zone and putting pressure on the Pablo and Aqua squad, which is not how they want to be starting this game out. But they survived the initial attack, and now they got to find something to go the other way, try to play it out of the corner. Sneaky does not have a lot of boost, but will pick up this corner boost here away from Pablo and Aqua. There's a dim on the other side onto Aqua to at least make this a little more feasible of going the other way. Sneaky's in a good position to make that save, so we'll try to go back the other way here now.
And with a minute's time gone in this third game of this best of 5, Pablo and Aqua need to start to find their rhythm a little bit. That is incredible car control from Sneaky right there to get that all the way past Aqua and in the net. In the net for about 5 to 10 seconds as well. Didn't know if it was going to be a goal or not, but Sneaky eventually got there in no time. And that is just really good control in general from Dead and Sneaky as they push themselves to 2-0 in the series and 2-0 in this game, and look to push Pablo and Aqua out of the tournament in the semifinals.
Certainly would not have ever expected Dead and Sneaky to make a 3-0 run. Well, a 3-0 in their first series, 3-0 in the second series, the potential lead for a 3-0 on the backside. Sneaky with a bump right there to try to at least just shut down this opportunity going the other way from Pablo and Aqua. Aqua was just posted up in front of the net, but Sneaky again just playing the bully on the field. But this is probably not what we would have expected from Dead Sneaky, but they're doing a pretty good job of holding up to it so far. They give one up there after the demo in front of the net, and sorry is the my bads in the chat. Sneaky a little too late to that one. Pablo just gets that demo to be able to ensure that ball will roll freely across the line. So they answer back, minute and a half in, still only down a goal, but that's 10 seconds that Pablo and Aqua have spent on that side of the field, where the other minute and 25 seconds has been Dead and Sneaky on the attack.
Yeah, it sure has, and that continues as the third goal comes through from Dead and Sneaky, and once again breaching out to that two-goal advantage that they're looking for in this third game. And with 3.5 minutes left, just short of that, Pablo and Aqua need to score the most they've had in this series to just come back in this game. So we'll see if they're going to be able to do that. Interesting kickoff comes through as both players seem to have missed it or just slightly connected with it, and it kind of stayed in a similar spot. Aqua, we've seen him do this before, though. Flip reset comes through, but in the net is Dead. And this is what I had mentioned. Dead and Sneaky just know how to play defense. They are very smart players. And they understand what Aqua's going to do there. They know he's going to try and go for a flip reset, so they're just going to stay in net and wait for the challenge instead of trying to go aggressive against him and potentially getting it flicked past him.
Yeah, they're just looking and reading everything perfectly. Pablo this time reads the situation and understood that assignment, as that is an open one from end to end to get back one more time within a goal. Sneaky's ball just gets left hanging right there, and Aqua's enough in the way where no chance you get back. Now looking for your teammate on Dead to rotate back around. Caught too little too late, and instead they give the goal up. So coming up halfway point again, a single goal deficit of this, which is I think what we would expect out of this series, similar to the last game, not similar to that first game whatsoever. That ball's actually going to get finished over the top and find enough velocity on target to be able to get in behind the defense and under the crossbar. Great win there by Sneaky on the midfield sideline to be able to put that ball in the back of the net.
And that is the 2-goal lead once again, so they're not getting any breaks on this. So make that 3 off kickoff.
Wow.
Dead and Sneaky with just 10 seconds in this game are able to score 2 more past Pablo and Aqua, and that is a rather easy take from Dead and Sneaky. And the 3-goal deficit now, Pablo and Aqua, I had already mentioned they needed to score 3 goals in this game. Now they need to score 3 more goals on top just to tie this one up. So Dead and Sneaky look dominant once again. That's another goal for Dead, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Gets an air dribble right past the defending side of Pablo and Aqua, and that's a 4-goal advantage. And that is 3 goals in 15 seconds from Dead and Sneaky.
Yeah, this says a lot about what Dead and Sneaky are capable of, and I think that this now makes a little bit of an outlier of their offensive performance in game number 2, because this is just a ridiculous showcase of what they can do on this side of the ball here, because the fact that they got that many chances, Sneaky with an opportunity there just could not quite finish that one off to get it inside the upright. But still, again, with a 4-goal lead just past the halfway point and how many goals they just put up, like you said, in the last 15 seconds, like, this is very reassuring for Dead and Sneaky. I think this game is virtually all but over. It's going to be very difficult for Pablo and Aqua to come back. Aqua, a little delay, a little stall to get the flip up over the top and get one back. So, again, similar to game number 2, it starts with 1. It took them a whole game and change to get that first goal, but now that they have the offense going here, maybe they can find something, but it's just so hard to stop what Dead and Sneaky have done, especially scoring 6 goals in the first half of the game.
Yeah, and 3 of those being in 15 seconds is kind of a tilter a little bit, as Sneaky gets a great challenge in midfield, and that's a wide open net once again. Sneaky's going to take that away from his teammate Dead, and the 4-goal advantage goes through. Pablo's going to throw out the GGs, and Pablo and Aqua are going to leave on that one.
Yeah.
Too much of a gap for them, and it like they slowly realized through that third game that there is no hope to come back, and that Pablo and Aqua are out of the series. But like we mentioned, they still take $100. So at the end of the day, this third place is still guaranteed for them. It's still guaranteed money. So they didn't play for nothing to go through this way. But Dead and Sneaky, man, I just don't know. This team is going to win the grand finals 3-0, I think, too, because they just look phenomenal. We'll take a look at the series replays powered by Microsoft IATL. And I mean, Just how do you stop this team? They're so good on defense. They're very patient, which shows in their gameplay is that they are willing to wait for you to make a mistake, and that's what happened a few times throughout this series. And they're going to continue to look to do that against Stealth and Revzy.
Which I think is really counterintuitive to what we saw from the matchup last time, because Pablo and Aqua were the team that I gave credit for being so patient and just waiting for the other team to make mistakes. But this time around, it was the Uno reverse card played to Pablo and Aqua, where they were trying to just force the hand, try to find opportunities. Instead, Sneaky and Dead just sat back and said, okay, do what you got to do. We'll just wait for you to mess up, just miss a rotation, and we'll take a goal every single time. I think reminiscent to that last game, yeah, it was 6-2, and I think that's probably where I would have called it when they scored that final goal here at the 2:30 mark. That's probably where, like, yeah, this game's over. There's no chance. Okay, sure, Aqua gets one more for icing on the cake here, but then 20 seconds later, they get one more back. It's like, yeah, okay, you thought you had a chance, but psych, you thought. Like, that, it's not gonna happen. So, again, just Dead and Sneaky dismantling their opponents, and two, probably of the other best teams here. I think Amber Gase is the other team in this conversation as to someone that would have a chance against the likes of Dead and Sneaky, but the fact that they have now 3-0'd both of them, that's kind of scary
Yeah.
for Stevie.
Yeah. Yeah, and you had mentioned out of that quarterfinals, you're like, can they not drop a single game? And so far,
Yeah.
yes. And going into the grand finals, I think that streak has a fair chance to continue as well, because I personally, I think Stealth and Revzy are a great team, but because of that bye through the semifinals, I think they got lucky to go through without having to face a team like Amber Gesa or one of these two teams we just saw. Now they're going to have to deal with that in the grand finals, and I think I put Stealth and Revzy a step below Pablo and Aqua in comparison to what we saw through the quarterfinals, and I think it's gonna be a struggle for them a little bit. But we did see Stealth and Revzy go up against Amber Gesa. I think previously we saw in the highlights that Revzy was able to bring it just low for an overtime win, I think, against Jalading and Luis. But going into the predictions of this one, I still have to think it's a 3-0 just because Dead and Sneaky look
Wrong.
unbeatable. Like, if you really don't think they can just clean this series?
It's a best of 7, so you have to do more than 3.
Oh, true that. It's 4-0. Sorry, it's a
Okay.
4-0. That's a good point. You got me there. But maybe
Uh,
there's room for one game, 4-1, but I'm gonna have to say 4-0 because the two teams they've faced are incredible, looked
Man,
great, and are out. So
I would. I hate to say a 4-0. I hate the
me too.
like.
I
I would
want a
love
grand
to see
finals
the
to be
gauntlet
7
run.
games, right?
I want the perfect run as much as anyone else. I want the 19-0 season. I want the perfect run through the top 8. Like, I want that to happen. I also want to give benefit of the doubt to Stevzy on the fact that they could probably
Yeah.
take a game off of this, right? Like, they're not that bad of, like,
We
they're a
thought
good
Pablo and
team.
Aqua could too.
You're right. And that's
And
where
Top
it's like now I'm
Cougars.
conflicted because, like, I want both of them to, like, get this narrative to work, but I can't see it unless somehow Dead and Sneaky completely just drop the ball and just somehow in one game don't show up. That's the only way I could see Stevzy being able to take one. And I still think, even with Dead and Sneaky dropping the ball and not showing up, I still think it's Stevzy winning by maybe 2 goals, 3 in a garbage time situation. Like, it
Yeah.
it's not going to be convincing by any means, but I still, regardless of scoreline, regardless of series, I Dead and Sneaky, like we said, coming out of the quarterfinals, as soon as that lower third popped up, they 3-0 Top Cougars. They're winning today's event.
Yeah, I mean, we called it as soon as we saw that. I mean, realistically, looking at one of the best teams in the tournament to get 3-0'd in the quarterfinals, I like checked the bracket and I was like, expecting one of the games to be to go through. Speaking of the bracket, let's take a look at how everything is developed. But looking at that bracket, I was like, top Cougars, I'm putting them through. I'm gonna put Pablo through. I'm gonna put Stevzy through. I'm gonna put Amber Gasa through. That was my top 4 right there. And then to see the 3-0,
Yep.
I went, uh-oh. This
Uh-oh.
is not good for anybody else in the tournament. If Top Cougars can't find a
No.
win at all against this team, I don't think any other team is going to as well. Amber
Again,
Gase
I
was
would have
maybe
given,
my one team, but I don't even know.
yeah, it's like, I give it to, it's either going to be Ebergesa or Pablo and Aqua. That are the teams that I
Yeah,
think had the best chance to face off against this duo. And we saw how that worked for Pablo and Aqua. Sure that you had a close game, go to overtime, but it was 9 seconds of overtime. So does it really count as overtime? I mean, it's just one of those situations like a lot of what ifs, if they were here, what if they played, what if they went, at the end of the day, Amber Gay said didn't get the opportunity. So Stevzy is here in their stead. And I, I think it is a tough break for Stevzy, but
Yep.
they also are, like you said, fortunate to be here because they are going to get at least second place pricing and their face off against NXG. Like I said, last time they played NXG, it was a first, second place matchup. And why I gave it similar credit to that matchup, because it would come down to whether you get that prize money or not, because they automatically would advance here into the finals. So Stevzy coming out with at least some credit, some W, some excitement here going into this finals.
Yes, we have game one of the grand finals about to be underway, so we'll see if Stevzy can make that comeback story to try and at least take a game off the undefeated Dead and Sneaky so far through the finals. And so far, a great start for them. Doesn't go into the back of the net. And Dead and Sneaky push it on the other side. Of course, I believe Dead and Sneaky are on the blue side, and Stevzy on the orange side, so we'll get that switch ASAP, but I'm really intrigued to see if Stealth and Revzy have what it takes to take a game off or take the series off in general from Dead and Sneaky. And I think this game one's going to be not a decider. It'll help a little bit, but I think this is going to be a good chance for Stevzy to understand the matchup they're taking on.
Yeah, just to get an idea of this one, because what we saw from Pablo and Aqua's defense was, but not a lot, really. I mean, they just were not around to bully Sneaky and Dead out of their passing lanes, off of the ball, and create their own counterattack opportunities. Sneaky and Dead were just so patient in their playstyle that they were able to virtually do almost whatever they wanted to transition those into goals. That's why they put up 6 in the first game, put up 7 in 3 minutes of the second game. And now a mistake here, looking for the squishy save, cannot get up enough. So Revzy will get credit for the first goal. And all of a sudden, Stevzy take the lead here after a small miscalculation on the defensive side.
Yeah, and that is a good goal ahead for this team. And Stevzy look to try and just hold on 1-0 for the rest of the game. That is all you need to do now. You do not need to do anything fancy, in which Stealth tries to get a nice little second goal there, but immediate counter save is going to come through again from Dead as he gets put on a lot of pressure. But Stevzy are already putting a lot more pressure than I think we saw from Pablo and Aqua in general through the last series. In this first minute and a half, they're actually making it to where Dead and Sneaky have to play some strong defense. I say that reluctantly because I think there were some really close chances, and Pablo and Aqua had a very decent time trying to get some goals, but just got overpowered in the end by Dead and Sneaky. Yeah. But with 2 minutes gone, Stealth and Revzy doing just fine in this game number one to, like we said, just coast to a victory. You don't need to do anything crazy now at this point with the lead.
Right. Just play simple, straightforward Rocket League and just maintain what you're doing, because so far what they're doing is working well enough. Good putback opportunity here. Great play off the wall by Sneaky to let Dead come in on the backside, get the shot, get the equalizing goal. That's just a good read and good team communication. Be able to get that defender up and out of the way. Give them the first goal back.
Tied game now. Less than 3 minutes is Dead and Sneaky look to try and continue their dominance. That's a great demo and a wide open net.
Yep.
And Dead and Sneaky taking the lead just like that. And what we were talking about, Stevzy just needed to hold the lead. They could not do that whatsoever. Dead and Sneaky immediately take control of game number one and now have the lead. So Stevzy needs to find that creation. Demos and bumps both work out extremely well against some of the best teams in the world, so would like to see a little bit more of that today, and that's going to get slotted top right. Revzy, good placement, almost got saved, but nonetheless, off a kickoff, it is the tying goal here for Stealth and Revzy.
Yeah, just both of them in the corner in position, and Dead could not come back around in time. Almost got enough of a deflection to put it off the wall or off the post. At least is something for a little ricochet, but can't do much more. Revzy, with the boost, could have had an opportunity there, but instead had to go pick up that midfield. Not going to be chasing down on the defensive side. Dead's going to avoid out on the initial demo, but secondary one will come through. Revzy with no boost on this, going to take this in off the backboard, but there's no follow from Stealth. So for the time being, we hit the halfway point. Another demo in a very explosive matchup here between these two teams, and seeing a lot more physicality that we did not see that Pablo and Aqua employ against this squad of Dead and Sneaky.
Dead's our media on the counter. He's got one past one. Gets a good challenge against the second, but can't get the goal in. 2 minutes left on the clock. Both teams trying to answer. Stealth is going to be the one to find it, though. Renzi gets a nice assist, and he gets a demo on top of that, and takes, I believe it was Sneaky completely out of this play, and it was. And that gets Stevzy their lead once again. So immediately countering and coming back in game one. Stealth and Renzi showing really good promise in this series so far. Could have been a kickoff to goal there potentially. It still could be, but I was going to dribble back to the likes of Stealth. But Dead and Sneaky, you have to be careful. Their rotation's been caught lackluster a few times in this game so far, and it's definitely been punished. Could have been punished there again. As you saw, Sneaky was all the way on the other side of the field. Sneaky and Dead are definitely playing with some free will here, and Stealth and Revsy are punishing it when they need to, and Stealth finds a double tap off the backboard and a 2-goal lead for Stevzy.
All of a sudden, you get that one back, and now with this insurance put up, a minute and a half left to play, Stealth and Revsy in a really good position where I think that they just have a good understanding of what to do to be able to stop this Dead and Sneaky squad, or at least disrupt them. They're doing exactly what Pablo and Aqua didn't. They're disrupting the passing lanes. They're bumping them off the ball. They're not even letting anything develop in a passing lane because they're getting the demos or the bumps initially before anything can even happen on the other side. So, you know, they're reading a page, 2 pages ahead of what Dead and Sneaky want to do and just not letting that come to fruition, and they're writing their own story here in this one. That's why they hold on to this 4-2 lead here. Trying to make another one from downtown, and they will. So a 5-2 lead now. He said just a mistake there on the other side, and that's not the first time we've seen Dead and Sneaky make a defensive mistake in this game. Instead, he's going to capitalize on it.
Dead missed the midfield boost, as well as Sneaky got over ambitious to try and go for the corner boost to get it back to the net in time. So that was just a really weird mistake from both of the players on Dead and Sneaky to give up that 5th goal of the game. And now Stealth and Revsy look to prove a point against both of us, saying that, hey, we do easily have a chance against this team. But, you know, little of that, at least that last goal is totally on part of Dead and Sneaky's fault and not on Stealth and Revsy having a good goal. So they just got to take what they can get, though, in a series like this. And constantly, the reason this is happening, though, is the amount of pressure by Stevzy is what's putting them in situations like that.
Yeah, and they're just doing a really good job, not only on the offensive side to create the pressure, but on the defensive front to be able to stop that type of thing from happening. Dead's going to get a great double touch off the wall, played off to yourself. Sneaky missed the initial bump, but the play was so far out, Revsy couldn't even get the squishy to stay high enough, didn't have enough speed to stay high and keep that ball out from the crossbar. So good capitalization on. Still 2 goals down, 23 seconds. It is not impossible, but it is not going to be easy for them if they want to try to find their way back here into game number 1. Going for the flex reset and the musty, but cannot get her done. 12 seconds left, and I think that's going to be about it. Stevzy looked to take game number 1 of our grand finals, and immediately, both of us are wrong.
Yes, immediately we are shut out of our prediction, and that is the first game of this best of 7 into Stevzy's hands. So we'll see if they can, or what they can do with that going into the remainder of this series. If they can continue to look that strong going into game 2, then I suddenly have to revitalize my thoughts on this team. But we'll take a look at the replays powered by Microsoft IATL for game number 1, an 8-goal scoreline. Could have been a little bit closer if that mistake, like we said, didn't happen. Then it's 3-4, and suddenly the game is a little bit less out of proportion. But you still have to put 4 goals on Stealth and Revsy's side, which they definitely earned and played well for. So they Dead and Sneaky have to figure out how to come back from a series loss, and the undefeated dream's already out of the question. So now we just want to see a good series.
And now it's just going to come down to, can someone finally find the stop to Dead and Sneaky, which, I mean, out of game number 1, they did. And like I gave credit to, what Stealth and Revsy were able to do was what Pablo and Aqua couldn't. I mean, they just did not get in the face to stop the offense of Dead and Sneaky. But there was just so much physicality, so many demos, so many bumps off the back end that there was just nothing that eventually would come into fruition for Dead and Sneaky. We saw a couple of plays actually develop where they saw them have good shots on, get a goal scored. We'll see a double touch here from Dead in a second off of the backboard. But beyond that, it's just a lot of situations where they never could get on the front end to be able to find anything worthwhile for their offense. Dead here with this double touch, 23 seconds left, almost too little too late to come through, but there's opportunities where they have to find something more here to go into game number 2.
Yeah, they do, and their game number 2 is already
Oh,
underway, and it's off to a quick start as Dead does find the first
okay.
goal of the game upon kickoff. So Sneaky just brought that downfield and gets it off to the corner, and just barely missing is, I believe, Stealth there. So unfortunate, or sorry, it's Revsy, but unfortunate enough, they go through and lose the first goal of the game. So now Dead and Sneaky with, I believe, the first lead of these 2 games. And, oh, I was going to say, take that away. But luckily enough, Stealth and Revsy just go a little bit, well, unluckily enough for them, they go a little bit wide. And as they continue their journey to try and take this series out, could you imagine it's a 4-0 series for Stealth and Revsy instead? That would be,
Right.
that'd be something else. But as of right now, good chance for them. Stealth and Revsy's positioning a little too close to each other for comfort. Stealth gets past one, can't get past the second. That's going to go past Sneaky with 0 boost. So back to midfield we go. Both players from Dead and Sneaky in net and waiting. And they're playing as if they just need to protect the lead. So smart game from Dead and Sneaky is what I expect from here on out.
Yeah, you would hope to see that that's something more, if not look for an insurance goal, but at least do the same thing that the other team did to them in the first game, just to stop the offensive attack. Do not let Stealth and Revsy get anything set up or find any way. Not a lot of boost here to work with, so Dead's going to take this with half boost, make the first defender miss. That's going to be an easy second goal on the board here. Great move, little chip shot, give number 2.
And this is what we expected from game 1. And now we're seeing it in the second one here as Dead and Sneaky are now starting to combine and connect a little bit. Puts them up 2-0 within a minute and 20 seconds. And that could be a third one off kickoff. Sneaky can't get past the Stealth, but he does at the second time, and that's a third goal already in this game. And realistically, what I expected in the first game is now ensuing in the second game. So that first game could have been that outlier game that we were talking about, that Stevzy just were able to continue their lead. But we'll see. The comeback is always real. And we'll see. And
right.
Both these teams are in the grand finals for a reason. They could both have a similar comeback and are both good enough to challenge each other to constantly keep that lead. So we'll see if Dead and Sneaky will continue that one in this one. But Dead and Sneaky, I think, are just too strong of a defense to let a lead like this slip away. Obviously they got scored on 4 times, 5 times last game.
Yeah.
But I think once they have that lead, they're smart enough to know how to position and understand that the other team's in more pressure than they are, because the other team's trying to score 3 goals. Meanwhile, you're just trying to stay in the lead. So the other team has a lot more of that pressure to constantly try and score throughout this game.
Yeah, I think Dead and Sneaky have given themselves the positional opportunity where they can just play it safe, a little more conservative, just to stop the offense to come through. You can afford to give up a goal, 2 maybe, but at that point, if you give up 2, you want to be able to find something to go back the other end. If not, find an opportunity on the other side. If you get the free one, Dead with the good shot on, Revsy with the better save. Make sure it does not go to a 4-0 score line as we hit the halfway point. Good play off the wall, but Stealth one more time with the save. That chip over the top is going to be fast enough that there is no chance that the defense can get back in time. A rotation just a little too late, and that's another one of those small but rare mistakes from Dead and Sneaky where it's just too little too late to get back on the other end of the field.
The comeback is starting now. We'll see if Stealth and Revsy can continue this momentum against the current best team in the tournament, Dead and Sneaky. Obviously, beating 2 of the best teams we've seen easily puts them at that number 1 slot. Kind of just how that works. Sneaky is going to have a nice drop to Dead as they look for their 4th goal of this game, sorry. And they're just constantly, both teams are pressuring really well, though. That's the thing between these 2 teams, is they're both constantly in a state of trying to rotate. And if you mess up your rotations, you are going to get scored 100% on one of these 2 teams. So that is what we've seen a couple of times with Dead and Sneaky. They've been overly aggressive, and it has been punished a little bit from the likes of Stealth and Revsy, who are very good at finding these counterattacking goals. Almost example there. If that went straight, that was a goal for them. And this is where you would have liked to see potentially Sneaky or Dead go for that demo, or at least try and position to get him off that ball. 2 misses going to go wide in net. And Dead still going to be here with the ball. There's a minute and 30 seconds left on the clock. Sneaky has a chance here.
Challenge.
Off the backboard, Dead's going to
Oh,
find
good
one,
put
and
back.
that challenge is going to lead to a fourth for Dead and Sneaky.
The initial challenge right here by Revsy over the top of Sneaky was a really good one. There's just no chance, unfortunately, for Stealth to be able to get back up in, and Revsy couldn't get back off the ground in time to be able to make that save. So, yeah, like I said, Dead and Sneaky can afford to give up one. Maybe they'd be able to give up two, but they got to be able to find one back along the way. If they do just that. They check both of those boxes here and hold on to this 3-goal lead. Make it 4 now off the rooftops. And 5-1 lead here. This is all Dead and Sneaky that we expected to come into game 1 of this series, that they have now showed up here in game 2. And now you got to wonder what Stevzy's going to find in game number 3. If they can find a way to stop this squad, or if we'll go back to their game 1, just straight up bully them approach.
Yeah, and it seemed to work well, so might as well rethink that and try and see if you can do that for another game. But with a minute left on the clock and 4 goals in the bank here for Dead and Sneaky, looks like game number 2 is slowly wrapping up. And we go, of course, it's a best-of-7 series, but that's, I thought that was an easy goal for Stealth, but a great save from Sneaky. A second chance. Stealth gets it back nonetheless. And what should have been his goal ends up being his at the end of the day. 52 seconds, 3 goals is doable. And with a team like Stealth and Revsy, if they find one off the kickoff one of these short times here, they could definitely be in a chance to take game 2 under wraps and have a 2-0 series lead, which would be incredible against a team we thought they wouldn't even take a game off of.
Yeah, and find themselves in this predicament now where a single game to both sides, I mean, is, I think, expected, because when it comes down to the talent level of both of these squads, who both earned their position in this grand finals, in the finals of the finals. Like, this is surprising, but not surprising in the sense of what we've seen Dead and Sneaky do. But Stealth gonna take this one from midfield off the wall and be able to get the flip reset to be able to get the shot on there. Didn't even need the flip reset, but just got the nose on to be able to send it past the defense. And both of them in position, but neither one of them committing to it. So a little miscommunication. Now only 2-goal separation in 27 seconds. Again, not impossible.
Not impossible, especially with Revsy doing something here with this one. Good challenge, though, from Sneaky is going to stop a little bit of the hope there from Stealth and Revsy. They wanted to get back in this game, and Dead is just going to punish them, put a 6th on the board, and now cut that off. But it's also good news for Stealth and Revsy, you know, going into the rest of the series. If they do drop down quite early, they know they have that comeback potential. They just scored 3 goals within a short amount of time in this game, so I think it's definitely possible and doable for them to do in the future of this series.
Yeah, so to go in and look for the adjustments into the next game again, like you said, looking for the defense approach. You know, is it going to be enough to bully the likes of Dead and Sneaky off the ball, just to, you know, go back to the demos, get themselves off of and out of the passing lanes and don't create those opportunities for shots on the back of the net? Or is it just going to go down to, you know what, play your game, we'll play our game, and I think we'll beat you outright? But obviously, I think from what we saw in game number 1, it worked well enough for Stevzy that they probably should consider going back to that.
Yeah, and they just might, in consideration to how game 1 went into game 2, but we'll take a look at the game 2 replays powered by Microsoft IATL just to see how the dominant start that Dead and Sneaky had already in the first 12 seconds, kind of what we're used to seeing from this team. Those quick goals off of kickoffs were something they prided themselves on in the quarterfinals matchup that we watched. And now going into the grand finals, they did have a quite a strong lead throughout this game, and we saw it get cut down a little bit, but they at no point in this game were Sneaky and Dead ever considered out, or like considered, you know, for a comeback. It was always like a 2, at least probably 3-goal lead throughout the most part. So it's definitely something that Sneaky and Dead look to continue going into this 3rd game.
Yeah, they did a really good job, just like you had touched on towards the beginning of this. You know, once they had the lead, it should be expected for them to play a safer style just to protect that lead and make sure that they don't give anything up. And yeah, granted, you give up 1 or 2s along the way, you give up a 3rd one late on, but you're able to answer back virtually every goal you allow. You take one back on the board. So it's something that's acceptable in its own rights, but you just got to find a way to make sure that you still cover all those bases going into this 3rd game, because best of 7 now turns to a best of 5. Still no server swaps. We're still all EU all the way. So it just is a matter of the next game is who can execute their game plan to the better degree, because obviously we've seen a tale of both of those where Stevzy did it in game one. They were able to shut down the offense of Dead and Sneaky, which is not easy to do. They beat a team that had not yet been beaten today. And then the other side, now we see Dead and Sneaky play their offense and get done what they want to get done, take a lead early, and just hold on to it.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see what game has been the outlier so far through those first two games.
Yeah.
Going into game three will kind of show us a little bit on how these games might just end up in the rest of this series. So we'll see as we get into game three what the case is going to look like for these two teams. So now we go through and we'll see how this goes through. I see some indication in chat. Stealth and Revsy are able to get that one in. But interesting, Sneaky wants to just play a best of 5 instead of a best of 7. Which is interesting. Obviously, winning game 2, you want to maybe think you win this second game, but I'm intrigued to see what the answer is going to be because obviously both teams agree, I guess. Does it just turn into a best of 5?
Probably not. No. I feel like at this point, with the amount of setup and everything allotted for this, that they're not going to allow that. But coming into this, 14 seconds, 2 goals for Stevzy. This is the start that they wanted, that Dead and Sneaky would hope to put together, but Dead a little late on the rotation to get back on the defensive front. Went a little under the shot there, so put it in another. And 14 ticks for 2 goals is a really solid start here for Stevzy. Dead and Sneaky just have to very quickly find an answer before this gets out of control.
It's already a little bit out of control. 2 goals in 30 seconds is not what you're looking for as Dead and Sneaky. Just want to get through this one. You see it, Dead is going to be controlling this one out of the corner. Kind of has awkward car control, though, so can't really do much with that. Sneaky trying to fall off the corner, and I am just surprised Delta Reds have been able to answer so quickly in this game. And now I have no idea what the outlier game is anymore, because this is completely different than the first 2 games in which Stealth and Revsy have started a 2-goal lead in 30 seconds, almost 3 there as Dead finds a nice save. But it is a confusing thing overall to see what's going on. But a good challenge here comes through from Stealth, gets potential another goal, but great save off the backboard as Sneaky is able to stop this indication towards another goal. And we go to the other side of the field. Dead and Sneaky looking to find their first of the game. Struggling a little bit in this game in the last in shot creation. And maybe that's in part of Stealth and Revsy. Good save on the goal line once again. Dead. I don't even know what just happened with Revsy there. He went and just like face dove into the back of the net when the ball was nowhere near. I'm intrigued to see why that happened, but nonetheless, they still have a lead, so he's not really worried about that too much.
My only guess would have been to go for a demo for whatever reason, to try to find something going the other way. Dead with the shot on this side. He's going to be denied by the post and sent back the other way. Good challenge to make sure Stealth doesn't get the shot opportunity on this. But outside of the first 2 goals in 14 seconds, we've got another minute 45 now with nothing. Look for a putback here. Revsy going to make it the 3rd one. As soon as I said something, Stevzy add to their lead, make it a 3-0. And now sitting in the driver's seat where Dead and Sneaky were in the previous game.
Just a straight
got
own
lead.
goal.
Just got to hold on.
He just had to clear that off the backboard, but instead just put it in the back of his net. So odd mistake coming out once again from Dead. We've seen a couple of very weird mistakes coming out from Dead and Sneaky so far, which has costed them quite heavily in this series. Of course, Stealth and Revsy are a good enough team to capitalize on those minor mistakes. And now we go into the 3rd game, 3-0 for Stevzy so far. And not looking fantastic for Dead and Sneaky, considering they haven't had a whole lot of shot creation. This one, Sneaky could be the first to do so. Good redirect, but an even better save from Stealth, as we're halfway through this game and no goals in just yet for Dead and Sneaky.
Yeah, Sneaky left floundering back there on the offensive side as well. Just a little late to get back, but still does get back in time. And as you said, have yet to really find a decent offensive production from this side, where they can't really get a pass. Dead with a good challenge is going to get this ball into play, but Sneaky cannot get there. Now look for the counter going the other way. It's a double, and Dead here trying to find a way to get back. Stealth is going to take this one with enough boost. The defense just completely caught out. That you see one player miss on the attack. The Sneaky's in the back of the net. No chance at all. You're getting back in time. Good recognition of the defensive fault. Stealth puts the 4th one on And this game is the complete polar opposite of what we saw in the last one.
It is, yeah. It's something completely different from either of the games we've seen before. Dead and Sneaky just can't
True,
connect with
yeah.
each other on offense so far, and that's a chance for Dead, but an immediate save from Revsy. But at
Ooh.
least Sneaky is there to put that one in the top left. So that is there and done for, as the first goal comes through for Dead and Sneaky. And Stevzy are up 4-1 still, though, even after that.
Minute 42 still to play. Still a decent amount of time here, but they got to make sure they don't give up anything more. And, well, calculated.
Yeah, easily calculated. Kickoff goal, 5th goal for Stevzy. Might just be one of those go next situations, but they're going to continue to wait on this one. And we'll see the second shot come through off kickoff that's dead. It can't find a goal. And I'm interested at Stevzy's. I don't know how this scoreline even commits. I mean, part of me was wondering is like Dead and Sneaky just completely out of this series? Like Sneaky asking for the best of 5 thing. Is he just did not want to play Rocket League anymore? So they're kind of just like chilling because his scoreline doesn't really indicate that he's having the greatest of game either in this third game.
Right.
So I'm just intrigued. Obviously, you know, no one wants to lose in the grand finals, but there might just be an indication of some struggles on Dead and Sneaky side in game 3 here.
Yeah, I think so, in the sense of EU teams, it's late, you know, middle of the night, so maybe the fatigue kicking in just outright. But, you know, regardless, you know, they played so well so far. Look for the putback here. Up for 90 will not go this time. Dead on the putback will not go. Revsy's trying to get bullied out of this, but will not say that. So they'll just let that one go, watch it all the way, and that's going to be, yeah, Sneaky calls for the next because they just recognize at this point it is not going to happen. A 6-1 scoreline, 37 seconds left. Stevzy going to take this game to go up 2-1 in the series. So now we'll see what adjustments are going to be one more time to go to game number 4. And
Yes.
after what we saw in this one, and we talk about the adjustments made from one to the next about what Stevzy could do, and well, they did it. So now what can Dead and Sneaky do to go to game 4 and find an answer back?
It's a great question, and I don't know because Dead and Sneaky just looked out of that game. It's something weird, which in comparison we saw in their 2 best of 5 series before this, they looked incredible, and there was like no
Yeah.
chance that anyone could beat them. And going into that third game, they looked, you know, just out of it. So we'll look at the replays powered by Microsoft ATL to see exactly what happened because, like we'd mentioned, they scored 1 goal in that entire game, gave up 6 and then ended up just going next instead at the end of the game. So it definitely seems like they're out of it a bit going into this 4th game here.
Yeah, and you mentioned, you know, immediately started this one. It's 14 seconds with 2 goals to score. And then after that, we went almost 2 whole minutes with nothing happened until they finally got another one. And then the capitalization on defensive mistakes. And that's what you talk about, how Sneaky and they just don't look like the duo that earned their spot here, that got all this way playing like they did and considering who they defeated to get to this finals. They're not playing characteristic of who they beat to come down into this one. So it's very peculiar to see this sort of transition between their last series into this one because it is not what we would normally see out of those two. And it's just very weird that that's what is currently happening and that there just isn't much of an answer, that they're making these mistakes, that it's just a defensive rotation miscue, a communication miscue. Just they don't play the kickoff right and they're just giving up easy goals. That is not what they normally do.
Yeah, it's just a lot of small mistakes like we mentioned throughout those couple of games that they've lost so far. Just really uncharacteristic mistakes on greeting for boost and giving up a goal, or you know, just missing in general and giving up a goal. There's been some indications of maybe a little bit of wear. Obviously, it's a long day of Rocket League. You play a lot of Rocket League. They're probably
Right.
playing before this and probably potentially playing after, but you know, it's a long day, so you got to get pushed through the tournament. And this is even the qualifier. The finals are much shorter usually than
Yeah.
the actual qualifiers are. So it's a lot less on these teams to try and cater towards. But we'll see as we go into the fourth game up 2-1, sorry, for Stealth and Revsy, in an indication which we were like maybe they get one. They're already up
Yeah.
two, and in this series, and we'll see if they can continue that lead going into that fourth game because I mean, Dead and Sneaky, as much as Stealth and Revsy look great and we expected them to be a good team, we just thought Dead and Sneaky were going to continue that the reign they had against some of the best teams in the tournament, like Pablo and Aqua and Top Cougars going out in 3-0 fashions. It was like, this is a
Yeah.
4-0. Let's just go next. But now we see a completely different team than I think we've seen from the last two best of fives.
Yeah, and I think we're looking at the point now of a floor versus ceiling debate, and watching
Yeah.
Dead and Sneaky virtually playing on the floor. Like they're not making any progress to go into this next position of being in a better position. So it's like very curious as to why all of a sudden they're playing at this level. What outside circumstances are coming into this because we know Dead and Sneaky are better than this. We outright,
Right.
but that's not to take away what Stealth and Revsy are doing because they just look so good. They're playing at their ceiling, which is higher than the floor of Dead and Sneaky. And that's why they're winning
Yeah.
these games. That's why they looked so convincing in their fashion that they won the two games that they have. And it's not surprising to see them in this position. All they have to do is to continue to play at that ceiling. And this is a squad that all of a sudden is in a prime position to walk away here now in a best of five.
Yes. Yeah, they have, as you said, this is a best of five now. Both teams have agreed it's player choice. So both teams have agreed, which, with an indication on that, Stealth and Revsy now are one game off of winning. So that
Yeah.
is interesting that they still wanted to commit to that, that being Dead and Sneaky. I think they just are ready to go. They're okay with a second here and giving
Yeah.
the game
They've won
over
enough,
and
I'm sure.
potentially a series. Yeah, I'm sure they're okay. I think it's 250 still for second place. So it's nice, obviously, $150 split between two people, $75 per person. It's pretty nice still to have, but it might just be the indication that they're ready to get this series done and wrapped up within the next couple of games. And, I will be interested to see how this fourth game does go because now we are on match point potential for Stealth and Revsy. And with how the last game went 6-1, will Dead and Sneaky be the similar that we saw in the last best of fives, or Stealth and Revsy able to continue their momentum? And right now, they're able to continue their momentum.
Now pick up right where they left off. They went back into this one Sneaky this time, though, with the aggressive play, going for the demo. Unfortunately, Revsy just in position to play it again after that hard commit by Sneaky to get that demo. There's no way Dead can get back in time, so they give up the first goal 4 seconds in. But again, as the 2-1 series potential match and series point here for Stevzy to walk away first place prize winners of this prize pool, $450 in their pocket, split two ways. Pretty nice little funds split between a couple of players for a brief little day of Rocket League action. After we discredited them, we counted them out. We thought Dead and Sneaky were dead to rights after their first victory. But instead, here we find ourselves in this position. Good shot opportunity from Dead and Sneaky, but did not go. Will still find themselves down a goal. Sneaky in possession, going to flip up over the top. Good challenge in the air by Revsy to make sure that doesn't. That leaves an open door for Stealth going the other way to give a second goal up here. Another defensive miscue, and Dead and Sneaky are down 2.
Yeah, I could have predicted this entire grand finals. I can't lie to you. I mean, we had our predictions, but to go from a best of 7 to a best of 5, and then to go from a 4-0 clean sweep to a potential 3-1 victory in the best of 5 for Stevzy. Yeah, I don't think anyone could have predicted that one. The sports book on this one, not too happy about how this one panned out. They're losing a lot of money from this series. But of course, that is a goal back, at least for Dead and Sneaky, as they try to insert back in the series, as they are down on match point now and also down in this game. That is a crucial goal for them to be able to have an extra chance here. And that is just a good challenge from Sneaky in the corner and positioning from Dead to have a shot on goal. So we see as this progresses 2-1, kickoffs have been quite an issue, it seems, so far for everyone to deal with a little bit. Stealth has a potential chance flip reset, can't find it. Good challenge from Dead, and this is what we've been talking so much about. That's a great bump, though, and leads to a goal for Revsy.
Yeah, really good position to get, like you said, that bump that just set it up on the backside, just taking possession away. Dead already on the commit for the attack, so there's nothing that Dead can do to rotate back in time to have any chance to get up in the net and stop that one. And a well-aimed shot, put it on target, upper 90 on the other side. give them again an insurance lead. 3:40 to play here now. Sneaky and Dead still looking for this good challenger by Revsy to keep this one in play, but just couldn't get the follow to put it on target, but opportunity there. Now go the other way. Good shot on. Better save from Stealth coming left to right to be able to make that one and send it back. But Sneaky's there to catch on the putback. Revsy does bite on this, but Dead's too far back. Cannot commit around one more time. But Sneaky and Dead showing signs of life on offense that we had not seen in the last game.
Yeah, they just had a great chance at a goal because for most part, Revsy was back there with 0 boost, and it was in their side of the field for a long time, and he had to go to the corner as the ball was coming to the corner to try and just save himself some boost so that at least had a chance at saving the next potential shot. So definitely a chance there for Dead and Sneaky. Unfortunately, goes wasted. With 3 minutes left, there is a good shot in this one, though, that they're able to come back. Good chance here for Dead. Gets a flip, and that is a great flick onto the left side of the net. Because that's not exactly, from his positioning, that's just nowhere near where you expect that ball to go on that flip reset. So that's a really nice position, a really nice shot from Dead there.
Yeah, such a hard reversal of momentum to go from your ball moving from right to left and you going left to right to flip it to go all the way to the post on the other side across the momentum that you have. It's such a difficult shot, but Wood will pull that off very well and bring them back within 1 goal. Coming up on the halfway point here. And if they tie this, we go to a single last game, making a best of 1. What a save by Stealth. That shot almost all the way across the line, but Stealth will come across out of the net to make sure it does not go. Still maintains the 3-2 scoreline here as they are corralling the ball in the corner on their side. The demo onto Stealth, looking for an opportunity here, but cannot get possession in time before the respawn will come through. For the attack on the other side here, Stealth and Revsy. Said that ball's going to go to midfield. Sneaky will pick up that midfield boost. I look for the angle to bring this back around. Dead, unfortunately, is a little too far caught in the corner. Cannot commit to bring a shot opportunity. They're still maintaining control of a lot of the boost here on the field. That shot, though, great redirect, and the defense just able to shoot the gap between the two and give them another insurance goal.
Yeah, that's a crucial goal in this game because we have already mentioned that these teams can come back by any margin, and to get that extra goal, to get that 2-goal lead, especially in the now best of 5 where you have the series advantage, it's even more of an important goal to try and solidify the series overall. Minute 40 seconds left. Dead is going to get it past Revsy, and they get an interesting challenge here. Revsy's still stuck with 0 boost, though, and can't really do anything, but it looks like Dead and Sneaky were in a similar boat. All players struggling with boost right now, having to recollect themselves a little bit going to this last minute and a half of the game. And the most important part, that's a great challenge there from Revsy as well to stop a for sure goal from Dead.
Yeah, looked like a ball that would have been on target, could have got it inside that upright, but instead the challenge, no shot credited, no save credited. A little bit of a missed touch there by Dead to give a chance on for Stealth. What a save by Sneaky to make sure that does not add to the lead any further as we come up on the 60-second mark. Stevzy for the 2, a minute away from the grand final championship here in the Atlantic Community Open for the month of September. All they got to do is hold on to this lead.
And can they do so? We will see for the month of September. Like I said, on the line, 45 seconds for the match point for Stevzy. Dead and Sneaky need to find something here quickly if they want a chance back into this grand finals. That was their chance. A good save initially, and the second chance goes wide as Sneaky is not able to capitalize on Stealth being by himself, and it leads to the other side. Backward comes through from Revsy, though, so that is an initial save. Still a chance here from Dead and Sneaky, but they need to find one quickly so they can find a second. Yeah. That was almost another goal for Revsy. 15 seconds left. They got to find one now.
Really tough. They're on the wrong side of the field. They get the back boost. The ball's in the air, but it's unfortunately just wasting too much time. You lay it up in the middle, but there is no follow from Dead in the corner. Instead, now down to 2 seconds on the clock. They're not going to be able to do it. Stevzy, against all odds, going to be able to come into this one, beat the team that we thought was unbeatable, and take a 3-1 series victory to take the grand final championship for the month of September. Congratulations to Stevzy, who we didn't think had it in him, but they certainly proved us wrong very quickly.
Yeah, that's a massive series for them to show a few things that they're the best team in the tournament for September, that they are able to beat the undefeated team going into that one, and that we are under appreciating their value to this tournament this
Yeah.
entire time. We'll take a look at the series replays, of course, powered by Microsoft ATL, in the 3-1 victory in this now best of 5 grand finals from Stealth and Revsy, who obviously me and Trevor are both insanely wrong in our predictions, and we have to take fault for that.
Yeah.
We thought that it was going to be a 4-0 quick sweep from Dead and Sneaky, and that just really, really well done from the other side on
Yeah.
Stealth and Revsy to show that the fight they had throughout this series to constantly stay on top.
I think a complete opposite spectrum of what we expected out of this series, because we saw coming out the gate immediately it was Stevzy that went through. I mean, you see from these replays powered by Microsoft ATL that it was just this position that Stevzy put themselves in game one, where it's like, oh, wait a minute. Not only are we wrong, but maybe Sneaky and Dead, the expectations they set were off. And then it goes into game two, where Dead and Sneaky just, okay, you know what? Yeah, we're here to play Rocket League. We're here to win. It's not going to be any question. We're not really worried about it. But then you flip the script one more time, and it goes to Stevzy one more time, stepping it up in the ante, going all in, put the chips in the middle of the table, whatever analogy you want to use for this one. And they just called the bluff for Dead and Sneaky, and it should have been what we thought the opposite, where it should be Dead and Sneaky in complete control of the series, of the entire situation. Instead, it went the other way, and that's why Stevzy straight up just alpha mailed that competition and won that series.
Yeah, that's a really good showing, of course, by them, and obviously for everyone for the Dead and Sneaky side. I mean, they still had an insane run through Top Cougars and Pablo and Aqua, so it's just not good news for them going into the finals, in which they were undefeated. So this is where Stevzy, if we see them again in the future, have now solidified a very good standing with me, at least, in their skill level and their competition level that we've seen. Because obviously, if 3 O's come out from Dead and Sneaky on Pablo and Aqua and Top Cougars, and Stevzy are able to fight like that in the grand finals, that really indicates to me a lot different than what I've initially thought of this team. So, huge props to Stevzy, Stealth, and Revsy. They really deserve the praise. And sorry for undervaluing you this entire time and really not thinking you guys had a chance in the finals, as you really showed were the top dogs today.
Yeah, and to come into this, and how we expected, we not give enough credit to Pablo and Aqua to start this one. Understanding that Pablo and Aqua is a really solid team, and then we're like, you know what? Okay, yeah, they're good, but are they good enough to be able to do it? And then, okay, yeah, they were good enough to move on and advance and to play the next squad. But unfortunately, it just looked like Dead and Sneaky were here to play. They 3-0'd what we thought was the best team in Top Cougars. Then they 3-0'd Pablo and Aqua. We're like, okay, now hold on, wait a minute. And I think that set us up for failure, because we're like, this team is way too good. There's no way anybody's going to beat them. But as we said at the top of the show, any one of those 8 teams that made it here today could have walked away with the first place prizing today. So we're not wrong. We are, but we're not, kind of thing. We're just we'll take the consolation prize that we get, because yeah, we were wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. We weren't even close to being right. We gave them 1 game at most, and they were able to win the entire thing and give 1 game to the other side on Dead and Sneaky. So yeah, just a really, really impressive performance throughout. And obviously, the way they did it was in some pretty good fashion too. 6-1 victory in the 3rd game to really solidify that they deserve to have the win so far that they've had, and that they deserve to win the series, and pushed on to do that in the grand finals. So yeah, just a really impressive run. And obviously that is the last of it for the September Rocket League qualifiers. But if you do want to sign up, there are still next month's October going to be doing the same exact thing. So you have the next week's qualifier. You can sign up for that. We'll see a lot of these participating teams that we saw this week. And we usually see by the 3rd qualifier, it gets easier, but there's only 2 spots instead of 3 in the 3rd qualifier. So you have to think that through. You have 1 less spot. It's only the grand finals and the qualifiers. So it's a much more difficult situation. So you have to think qualifier 1 and 2 is a much better shot, but you're going to be facing some of the best teams that you'll see and that you did see in today's action.
Yeah, certainly. Of course, it's always just a tough competition. We always have 30 to 40 teams at minimum that register for each one. So it's not easy by any qualifiers means. So if you don't do it the first time, just do it again the second time. If you don't do it then, do it again the third time. Just keep trying until you finally do punch your ticket. But at the end of the day, like we said, the grand finals is the whole enchilada. That's what everyone here is competing for. And I cannot give enough credit to all of those 50, 60, 70, 80 some odd teams that did compete here across the month of September. It's been a blast to be able to cast this. Congratulations one more time from me to Stevzy and what they were able to accomplish here today, because yeah, they got a fan in me now. That was an impressive showing, to say the least.
Yeah, I'm sure they picked up quite a few in their dominant performance in the grand finals, but that is, like we said, going to be it for us and for them in this series. So, Trevor, thank you so much for participating. I'm sure I
Microsoft
will see you
ATL.
next week for the
See you
rest
later.
of Rocket League in October. Thanks again, Trevor Caribou McNeil. You can follow him at Confused Caribou. You can follow myself at Pibcast on Twitter. But thank you, everyone, for watching this fantastic show and this fantastic month of Rocket League. We will both be back to see you next week in the Rocket League #1 qualifier for October. So have a great rest of your night. We'll see you next week, and we'll see you for more Rocket League through the rest of October.